けて100回翻して1000回翻して手を伸ばして口を開けて2回翻して10回翻して手を伸ばして口を開けて10回翻して100回翻して闇の中考えていたの花を持った私を放った愚か者ねえどうしてた私のことを忘れていた未来を想像して夢中になって夢中になって夢中になった
出して近づいて抱きしめて死に添えて出して近づいて抱きしめて死に添えて
いやー私
近づいて抱きしめて死に添えて出して近づいて抱きしめて死に添えて
口を開けて100回翻して1000回翻して手を伸ばして口を開けて2回翻して10回翻して手を伸ばして口を開けて10回翻して100回翻して闇の中考えていたの花を持った私を放った愚か者ねえどうしてた私のことを忘れていた未来を想像して夢中になって夢中になって夢中になった
出して近づいて抱きしめて死に添えて出して近づいて抱きしめて死に添えていや出して近づいて抱きしめて死に添えて出して近づいて抱きしめて死に添えて
「 口も耳も指も肺も心臓も全部飲み込めば私を思い出してくれるかな。手を伸ばして口を開けて100回翻して1000回翻して口を開けて2回翻して10回翻して手を伸ばして口を開けて10回翻して100回翻して闇の中考えていたの花を持った私を持った愚か者ねえどうしてた私のことを忘れていた未来を想像して夢中になって
出して近づいて抱きしめて死に添えて出して近づいて抱きしめて死に添えて出して近づいて抱きしめて死に添えて出して近づいて抱きしめて死に添えて100回翻して1000回翻して手を伸ばして口を開けて2回翻して10回翻して手を伸ばして口を開けて10回翻して100回翻して闇の中考えていたの花を持った私を持った愚か者ねえどうしてた私のことを忘れていた未来を想像して夢中になって出して近づいて抱きしめて死に添えて出して近づいて抱きしめて死に添えて出して近づいて抱きしめて死に添えて出して近づいて抱きしめて死に添えて壊し
翻して旋回翻して 手を伸ばして口を開けて2回翻して10回翻して手を伸ばして口を開けて10回翻して100回翻して闇の中考えていたの花を持った私を持った滅ったものねえどうしてた私のことを忘れていた未来を想像して夢中になって夢中になって夢中になった
ふたして近づいて抱きしめて死に添えてふたして近づいて抱きしめて死に添えてふたして近づいて抱きしめて死に添えてふたして近づいて抱きしめて死に添えて運命に変えるには生きていて学わなければ世にダメとにいないなら世のためなら運命を変えるには失念なものを捨てた自分を壊していて壊していて壊されていた運命を変えるにはいらないものまで捨てた後から欲しがっていて欲しがっていて
To choose just anger and retribution as a method of leading, of so-called leading.
Though all agreed political divisions are concerning, delegates had differing opinions on what's behind them. Republican Jesse Franklin Murdoch, also from California, focused on the media's influence.
So I think that people who don't take the time to really think about every issue for themselves and just look online or turn on the TV, they may be well-intentioned, but they're sometimes misled.
Democrat Robert Branscombe of Arizona said polarization in Washington is part of the problem.
I think we got in this place because we went to the tribalism. You know, we Democrats, you know, we have our progressive side, Republicans have their MAGA extreme side, and it became unpopular to talk to each other.
Wisconsin State Treasurer John Leiber served as a GOP delegate in Milwaukee.
Even here in Wisconsin, you know, the friendly atmosphere has broken down in the last couple decades. Used to be Republican and Democratic legislators could meet, go have a beer after session, and just talk to each other. But today that doesn't happen.
We're not approaching politics like we used to anymore.
But Virginia Democrat Caleb Fulford placed the bulk of the blame on the rhetoric on the Republican side, particularly from the former president.
Politics used to be a side topic. It used to not be sort of who you were as a person. We are now in a society where if you were a Republican or a Democrat, I can somehow self-identify you with a whole set of moral beliefs, set of judgments, and opinions. And I think it comes from just like this politics of hate, where it's Donald Trump. It comes from the top down.
Alabama Republican delegate Logan Glass.
President Biden saying things such as it's time to put the bullseye on Donald Trump, well, President Biden got what he asked for. And look, I know President Biden didn't literally mean let's shoot Donald Trump. I know that. But that sort of divisive rhetoric is not helpful.
Like many of the conversations happening across the country, ours eventually turned to some of the most divisive issues of the day, from immigration to reproductive rights.
All right.
If you don't have abortion rights, then what other rights are you going to take away from us? Myself.
The fact a man just said that is probably the funniest thing. I'll just watch TikTok cringe. Oh, you wait. Alright, TikTok cringe fest. That's good. Let's go.
I'm a happy bitch with my morning coffee. Da-da-da.
Ooh.
Oh, dude.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
It's just Ashley.
No.
Just Ashley.
This girl dresses up as Taylor Swift on purpose.
Keep going, Zoe.
I think it's cool that they made. Oh no. Oh no.
I learned a lesson today. Fun fact: pineapple is very nice. I actually enjoyed doing this. I did not finish the video though because it stung.
What? Video? No. No.
And showering doesn't make it stop.
You know what? That's deserved. Oh. Did he break his leg? No. Okay. Well, that's good.
What went wrong? What did I do? I'm just asking a simple question.
I know.
Do you still love me?
No.
I wouldn't either. This dad's based.
Can I skip this question? Can you explain history to me, please?
Not right now.
On Father's Day, I know it's your favorite pastime.
Look, this right here really cut me deep.
Ugh.
To explain that Hitler is dead.
I can be out of the will.
And
It's
who
fine.
he is.
I would take her out of the will.
I'm not asking who he is. I'm like, is he dead?
Grace, right now the best thing for you to do is
Please don't
prepare
talk,
your
woman.
face and have a piece of pie.
Okay.
We're in a choice.
Why are you laughing at me?
You asked if Hitler's dead.
That might
Your
not
grandma
happen.
was 3 when he died.
Okay, obviously I didn't pay attention in history class, okay?
You don't have to.
Yeah.
You're just not on my level, bro.
Ew.
I'm a pickle wizard.
That's just no. I mean, he can draw. Bruh.
Ladies and gentlemen, Ned and I have been taking magic lessons. Look at this gummy bear, red and green. Alright.
That's actually kind of sweet. Sweet. It's a donkey. Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Are these bitches serious? Wait, midget kiss?
Lay down. Lay down.
Oh!
If you hit the fan, you want to hit the fan.
Oh my god.
Back here.
me, where's the women's restroom?
Sorry, ma'am. You're not allowed into the women's restroom.
Well, I guess I'll just piss on the floor. Piss on the floor. Piss on the floor. I'm pulling my panties down like a hose. Piss on the floor. Piss on the floor. Piss on the floor. I'm pulling my panties down like a hose. Cause I'm about to piss on the floor. I've been holding it.
Yeah, no. Don't get a roommate.
But they telling me I can't even go to pee. Like I'm trying to lead a classroom. I'm holding my pee.
Where are you going after this, Hope?
Home.
No, you're going to the fucking gas station.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Roll the window down.
No, I'm not. I'm not rolling the window down.
Roll the window
So
down.
please leave.
Roll the window down.
Somebody,
No, I'm not.
somebody just messaged me saying like, "Oh, I'm watching your stream. It could use a bit of work," and they had literally been trying to sell something to me earlier, and I was trying to politely say no, and they come in here saying like, "Oh, it could use a bit of work." Like, that's like, I don't even know what to say to that. Like, how much do you want me to not, like, I can't even.
This question. Really, I think the answer is the media. I think that if you
Hold
look
on.
at what happened with Richard Nixon in 1974, there was no media apparatus to protect him when he broke the law. Then you think about who worked in Richard
Hold
Nixon's
up.
administration.
Is he saying the media protects Trump? Is that real? Oh my god. That's so painful. Oh boy.
Natural conclusion of what Roger Ailes sought to do is happening right now, where now there's a right-wing media ecosystem that is not only protecting a criminal president, but fully embracing him.
What do I say to that? Like, how do I... I gotta at chat for a second. Hold on. This dude on stream is saying the media protects Trump. Lamau, drop it in. Okay, nice. His Soylent's probably in the corner right here.
Is the most important part of politics right now. Am I going to watch the Apprentice movie? Absolutely. I am very much looking forward to the Apprentice movie. If here's what I'm gonna do.
I'm just gonna switch back and forth. Oh, you know what? Let's watch election 2016 bingo. Bring in some old classics. Compilation. Did they remove them? That's a classic. Where is Young Turks 2016? How many paces? Bingo.
All right. Ben Mankiewicz, Jake Huger,
The classic.
John Iadarola, Anna Kasparian. I will be yelling throughout the day. I was eating breakfast with my kids this morning before I went to go vote. and they're both so excited at the idea that a girl could be president. The idea of Donald Trump beating the person who could be the first female president.
Yeah.
Oh, it doesn't get any worse.
Dude, did he just nut?
And as I was waiting in line, there were two older white guys. They're
Hold
behind
on.
me, and in the span of 5 minutes, they badmouthed Latinos loudly and very transparently.
And then
Badmouthed
everybody
Latinos,
clapped.
Muslims, and black people, okay? And I just couldn't take it anymore. And I just turned around and I told them to shut the F up. We wouldn't have experienced that before. Like that kind of open hatred where you feel emboldened enough to talk like that about 3 groups of people in the country that are different from you. And it scares me. I don't want to live in a country like that.
There was only 2 guys we'd ever banned in TYT history, and one of them was Donald
Dame
Trump.
Pesos.
Way before he ran this time around, and he broke us on that, to be fair.
Look, this election's over, okay? Trump cannot win. He can't win for a number of reasons. I mean, putting aside his xenophobia,
politics.
racism, sexism, and all that gets
Here we go.
Latinos and other groups to vote in large numbers. He's incompetent. I mean, in
There we
terms of the popular vote would be always would be kind of close, but the electoral vote won't be close at all. I think he's going to win by, I think Hillary will have.
Hold up, let's see what this guy's saying now.
One re-election. So there are instances where I think it can be impactful, but I think overall, what will be the most important thing is to talk to a very narrow stream of people in the American electorate tonight, and for Kamala Harris to be able to define herself for those people who don't yet know who she is.
Oh no.
The debate starts.
They don't.
Asking
Nobody wants to know who she
6
is.
o'clock Pacific, 9 o'clock Eastern.
They'll end up reeking of wine. My dogs are sleepy.
You can go ahead and throw some questions into the chat, and I'll go back to answering them now.
I'd ask why is he cringe, but I'm not subscribing. Look. Yeah. How do I scroll down? Oh, I can't see. It says subscribers only in the bottom right corner. All right, let's see what question he'll take.
This is an interesting question. Does any of the money for the Apprentice movie go to the Trump family? I don't want to add to their privilege. No, absolutely not.
Add to their privilege?
Here's what I'll do. I'm going to throw the, for anybody who wants to donate to the Kickstarter for the Apprentice movie.
Oh my god, it's on Kickstarter?
This is to help them promote, get the film in more theaters. I've just pinned it to the comments section. You can donate $25. That'll give you...
So it's not even a real movie yet. It's a Kickstarter? Has anyone learned anything from not donating to Kickstarters? Yeah.
320 electoral votes when it's all said and done, plus or minus 5.
I need this as a palate cleanser.
I never bought into your fear-mongering.
Ida Rodriguez joins us, yes!
You got a Latina. You have to today.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it turns
Oh,
out
there's a Latina right
you
here,
guys
and I am laughing my ass off.
I'm an anchor baby. I want you to tell me specifically why you don't like Hillary, and the reality of it is that you don't like her because she has a vagina.
But, okay, now I'm going to keep it
No.
She chose to not come on.
I mean, it's so weird how all these people randomly die when they're, in business with the Clintons. Like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. Oops. Like 80 people? 80 people. Oopsie. What an accident. Like how, Epstein, I can't believe it. Oh my gosh, I can't believe he killed himself. That's like the vibe that Clinton gives.
Burning. But
considering how many dead people are around her.
Let's start with Kentucky because we don't care.
Oh, Kentucky.
73-25 Trump.
Okay, have Kentucky. Who cares?
Second one, Indiana. Don't care. 69-28.
I hope this happens again this year.
It's an important one. Less than 1%. I'm sorry. That one actually not less than 1%. That 1%. 1% of precincts. 53-41 Donald Trump.
Disaster.
Okay, the mood has immediately changed.
And in
And
fact,
the
Trump
minute
is
it
now
become-
taking the lead in Florida.
He's taking the lead.
Wait, where?
In Florida.
Okay.
It's so come on, stop doing this every 2 seconds. We're
Yeah,
gonna
I
start
agree.
killing ourselves.
Virginia, 10% reporting.
Uh-oh. Okay, hold on. Buckle up.
54-41.
Trump.
Yeah, just put it in.
No.
161,000, 123,000.
No. It got quiet.
Oh my
here
gosh.
The minute we started reporting these real results.
Yep.
And if that.
Hold up. Body language at third time. Slumped shoulders, depression, sitting back, arms locked in. That's tense. That's like you're ready for a fight. Glasses dude looks like Glasses dude on the right side of sync between him and I forgot her name. He looks dejected. And Anna, she has like that, oh my gosh, like biting lip, like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. I can't, like, stopping herself from saying something. Body language. Hey, boy Ray.
Reporting these real results.
Yep.
And if that continues, there is going to be a Paul in here.
I don't even want. I mean, I think.
Where are you?
I will cry. I will literally cry.
I can't bear anything more. Up and down the middle of the country, all red. Have we called all those out yet?
Oh my
no,
God,
we
he
haven't.
built a wall.
Okay,
So let
he
me-
built a wall.
Built
North
a wall.
Dakota gone, South Dakota gone, Nebraska gone, Kansas gone. All called for Donald Trump.
Hold on, this is serious. So the calculation that the New York Times has had as a running prediction of winning the presidency. Last time I glanced at it, John, I don't know if you've been looking at that win presidency meter below the states,
No.
below the map. Well, it was at
Oh, yes.
it was at 80% an hour ago for Clinton.
What is it now?
68%.
Okay, God damn it, I'm nervous. Okay, you should be nervous. This is not kidding around anymore. I'm not kidding. Okay,
Here-
so
oh, and-
hold. Ohio gone. Okay, Virginia. God damn it, it's 77% reporting. Still a 5-point lead for Trump. Florida, 76 plus early voting.
I wonder how
40,
it's gonna look this
49,
time.
holding steady for Trump.
Yes.
In North
Yes,
Carolina,
Duncan, me
essentially
too.
Completely evaporated.
It's gone.
It's tied.
Ohio.
Oh, hold
gone.
up.
49.
I have the reaction video in front of my stream elements. That's not good. There we go. Now we can see you guys.
And 47, Trump now leading. He's got a 2-point lead with 30% reporting.
You know what?
Texas.
And so that.
Are you guys ready for the
Texas
debate
is
tonight?
gone. Okay.
Do you think it'll be
So-
as bad as the last
Hey,
one?
Attorney Verbal, blah,
I
blah, blah,
sure
blah,
hope
bullshit
not.
gone. Sometimes I
That
can
would be
barely hear you
depressing.
guys, 'cause in my head it's like,
The last one isn't even that funny
she's
for most of
losing
it. It was just
Virginia,
sad.
Needs Florida, right?
Mm.
And God damn it, if we need Florida, are you shitting me? More
Don't worry.
ballots.
Don't worry. Florida doesn't
Ohio.
need you, Democrats.
Now he has built a 6-point lead, 37% reporting, 51-45. North Carolina, he's now taking a 1% lead with 36% plus early voting in. Wow. New Hampshire, 16% reporting, and the lead is down for Hillary Clinton down to 3 points. Okay, yeah, I don't see a fucking landslide here. I don't see it at all.
New Hampshire has been totally tied up.
Oh,
64,
Jesus Christ.
200 votes.
Why does their handwriting like Comic
It
Sans?
is fucking panic time. New Hampshire has
Look at
flipped.
how serious
He's
their
now
faces
leading
are now.
48-47. So he's leading in Florida.
God, this is
Virginia,
such a
New
classic
Hampshire,
video.
North Carolina, and Ohio is now an 8-point lead for Trump.
They're gonna call
with
Ohio.
with 42% reporting. So Ohio is gone and soon to be gone. Tick 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 tick. You're running out of votes to count.
New York Times forecast of who's likely
Yeah,
to
just
win, Donald Trump. Now
make
it's
some
34%
like last time.
51%.
Jesus, this is the most haunting
under
thing
legal
I've ever had,
advice.
we've
That is
ever
a joke.
had, on the Young Turks. 14 years we've been on the air, and we thought John Kerry was going to win in 2004. This is Trump. We are fucking talking about a madman, incompetent buffoon being the most powerful man on earth. he now has a better than 50% chance.
Yeah.
I can't even believe how this is going so far. And this is
She looks like
why
she has a headache.
I don't obsess about the polls. Yes, they're relevant. Yes, they're interesting to you guys. But I never look at the polls and think, oh, you know what? Hillary has a comfortable lead according to.
To be fair, I don't like
all of these
numbers
polls
either.
Put together and analyzed together. It doesn't mean anything. Okay?
It means something.
It means something.
By the way, as we were talking, 54% chance that Donald Trump wins. They moved while we were talking. It just moved again.
Maybe we should stop talking.
55% chance Donald Trump is going to win right now.
Stop saying the number.
61% chance of winning
This
for Donald
is
Trump.
insane. This is
Okay,
insane.
so I've got a lot more ramifications. Oh, wow. For the Trump presidency, brace for impact. New York Times now saying the chance of a
And
Trump
this time they're
presidency
talking
is
like
92%.
the
Brace for impact.
Democrats are
Okay.
throwing, basically. That's what they're saying.
Huffington Post, what happened to your fucking 98.4%? What happened to your... They said they was at 98.4%. And I keep picking on them.
Well, that
but they
leaves
were not
almost
alone.
2% chance.
They were not alone. All the fucking idiots in Washington and New York. Oh, you guys are worried about nothing. You're worried about nothing. And now this will be true rebel headquarters as Trump and his cronies begin their march against our freedoms. Look, we might literally be targeted. So, remember...
I honest to God don't think Trump even knows who Cenk Uygur is, even after it's been about like 8 years.
They didn't get escorted out of the building, and they laughed about it. And so now
Fuck,
those
I'd
guys
laugh
will
too
be
if I
in
saw that
charge in a lot of
t-shirt.
ways on a national level. Talk
I
about
know.
how
I am well aware.
pathetic the Democratic Party is. That they let this guy who
Yeah.
has never had any success.
I know,
in business,
Duncan, I know.
He's had a track record of monumental failure. And they let him win the presidency and become the most powerful. The Democratic Party is gone. But I'm at war
Yeah,
with the
I think the
Democratic
Democratic
Party.
Party's worse off this
corporatist,
time.
Weak, spineless, pathetic party that lets
Because
imbeciles,
their
on the
failure kinda,
Republican
like,
side
woke
walk
people
all
up.
over this country, that handed power to a raging, not just bigot, but an incompetent. And I'm done with the losers. And I'm done with those donors. I don't give a fuck.
He's like,
what
I'm done with the
donors want,
losers, while
okay?
staring in the mirror
So
screaming.
The DNC, you think we're coming for you? You're goddamn right we're coming for you. We're going to pulverize the DNC. We're going to
They did not do that.
Yes, we are at war now. So even if by some miracle here,
They're
as
still
we're passing
sucking
on
off the
Clark
DNC.
Eastern in our live coverage, by some...
Let's see.
We all know the answer to that question. Could they? Sure. Metaphysically, anything is possible. Will they? I wouldn't bet any money on it.
How many people watch
I
this
want to look
guy?
at some more polling, by the way.
18. 18K.
This is a morning consult poll that had a lot of polling in a lot of different states.
Let me see something.
So Kamala Harris
Oopsie.
up 10 points in Virginia. Harris up.
TYT in 2016. We are at war.
Minnesota. So Virginia, and Minnesota,
TYT
which were,
2020.
creeping
We are
back into Trump's
loyal.
category.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
shouldn't even say creeping. They were pretty firmly in Trump's category when he was running against Biden. Are now virtually off the map as far as Trump is concerned. When we're seeing a 10-point differential
It's Hassan
in Virginia,
streaming.
and Minnesota,
Hassan.
you know
He
that
is.
pretty much takes it out of play.
When it
for
comes
Donald
to
Trump.
voters, his
now you go
campaign is
into
acutely aware of
Wisconsin.
this. They
Oh,
look at
reaction
when
section?
you look
Reaction
at
section?
and
Yes,
the
Moist
deficit that he
Towlett
has with them,
douche gang
including in
thinks
recent
that I'm
polls,
an
those
annoying
numbers have not
genocidal
changed.
lib.
That's something that he's going to be dealing with on that debate stage tonight. And so that is what really, when you talk to his aides and his allies about what they're the most concerned about tonight, is that will resurrect itself.
Oh, I should put
on the debate
news
stage,
in
because she
my
is going to be trying
tags.
to get under his
What a good
skin.
idea.
I was at Trump
Thank you,
Tower on
Hassan.
Friday when he held a press
You were
conference
helpful
just
for once
hours
in your
after
life.
appealing the E. Jean Carroll defamation
I will steal
and
that
sexual
bag.
abuse verdict. He essentially just ranted about
Remember
it
when
for
he got
over
kicked
60
out
minutes,
last
and you
time?
could see
He
what
got
a
kicked out of the
sensitive issue it is
DNC.
for him.
They're
Basically,
like, get
making
out of
clear to the
here.
Harris campaign, this is something
This
that she could
hilarious.
use, that she could invoke to get under his skin, and may very well do so tonight.
Let's
his campaign
see.
isn't quite sure how he'll respond to that.
Coming up, another take on what to expect tonight when California Governor Gavin Newsom joins us here in
what did
Philly.
he
It's all
put?
leading up to Kamala Harris and Donald Trump and their historic showdown that you will see
News.
live
There we
on
go.
CNN in just minutes.
News.
Look
There.
at
Was I ever a fan of Caitlin Collins? No, she used to be. I think wasn't Caitlin Collins a Daily Wire correspondent originally?
Look how many tabs he has. What is that?
I'm
speaking.
Harris, no stranger to the stage, from early in her career to her Senate run in 2016, when her opponent awkwardly dabbed.
I like the
there's a clear
dabbing.
difference between the candidates.
Am I
in this
stressed?
race.
Why would I be stressed, brother? Why would I be stressed at all?
Allies point to Harris's past as a prosecutor and arguing her experience helps.
Why would I be stressed?
You can't be stressed if you have no assumptions, like no belief at this point. If you keep your expectations low, then you can be pleasantly surprised.
Holy shit, that's hilarious.
If the Democratic Party ends up exceeding your already low expectations.
Somebody, oh my god.
To school every day.
That's
And
hilarious.
that little girl was me.
But Harris has had to play defense too, like in another debate that cycle, accused of hypocrisy for shifting to a more progressive position in a crowded primary.
There are too many examples to cite, but she put over 1,500 people in jail for marijuana violations and then laughed about it when she was asked if she ever smoked marijuana.
Yeah,
For his
funny.
part, Mr. Trump has more debate experience as a presidential nominee.
Hassan Abe has nothing to worry about. If Trump wins, he gets a tax break, brother. Yeah, totally. I love Donald Trump.
Clip it, clip it. He said it, he said it, he said it.
Career shitting on him. You know.
Clip that out of context right now.
Then do it, sir.
Say it. Do it. Say it. Do you want to call him? What do you want to call him? Give me a name. Give me a
White
name.
supremacists and
Who would
white
you like me to condemn?
white supremacists and right
Proud Boys, stand back and stand by.
And candidate Trump's first debate against Hillary Clinton in 2016 still holds the
Oh
record
my
for the
God.
most watched ever, 84 million viewers.
I haven't
As
seen
they
that in a
face off,
while.
The two sparring over foreign policy and Russia's Vladimir Putin.
Well, that's because he'd rather have a puppet as president of
No
the United
puppet,
States.
no puppet.
And it's pretty clear.
You're the puppet.
Mr. Trump memorably looming behind his opponent.
It's
on
not
stage
exactly
at other
a
points
puppet,
delivering
but more
personal attacks.
Such
a Satanist.
And earlier in the Republican primaries, responding to a crass
Clinton.
insult about the size of his hand.
Just to be clear.
Those hands, are they small hands? I guarantee you there's no problem.
Now, tonight, Vice President Harris hoping to make good on past pledges.
I'd wipe the floor with him.
But according to the rules of this debate, it's former President Trump who will get the last word.
We're going to make it great again.
Now, some of those moments that you just saw may be mitigated
What
by
the
the
fuck?
rules we've been talking about at tonight's debate. Think about those mics muted when it's not each candidate's turn to speak. That may cut down on some of that overtalk or interruptions, if you will. There's also, of course, the rule that each candidate must stay behind their microphone. No stage wandering a la 2016. Lester, Savannah?
Yeah, there's not going to be a handshake.
For more on what we can expect
There's
from
not
both
gonna be a
candidates tonight,
handshake.
let's bring in President Biden's
What happens first
former
during
White
the
House
debate?
Press Secretary Jen Psaki.
Predict with
and
channel
Donald
points.
Trump's
Wait, what the
former
fuck? How are you
Deputy
able
White
to
House
predict
Press
with
Secretary
higher?
Hogan, good to have both
Eight?
of you here today.
God damn,
Jen, let
first
me start
Gamba
with you. I
is
think it's fair to
out,
say a
ladies
lot
and
of Democrats
gentlemen.
were rattled by those latest New York Times
We got
Siena poll
8
numbers. Is part of the Vice President's
predictions.
mission and task tonight to reassure Democratic voters that all is well?
I think it's part of the mission, but the other part of the mission is to think about that 28%.
Submissions are open. You can gamble with channel points. You don't get nothing about with channel points.
So what's tricky about this,
Trump's
Lester,
mics
if you're
get
the vice
muted.
president,
Kamala's
is
mic gets
a lot
muted.
of Democrats out
Trump
there
says
have been
borders
waiting for
are.
somebody to
Kamala
eviscerate
says
Donald
liar.
Trump. They might progressive
says
Democrats and other
Haitian.
Democrats who might be rooting for that.
Kamala
that is
laughs
not
into
the
the
right
mic.
strategy for
They
the
shake
totality
hands.
of this debate,
None of
because
the
that
above.
28% who want more information, who want to know more about her positions, that may not be
I don't
what
know
they're
why
looking
y'all
for.
put none of the above on here, but fuck it, why
because
not?
she has 30% roughly of the electorate that's still curious. Hogan, as I bring you in here, Donald Trump, I mean, for better or for worse, it's a very calcified, set in stone opinion that people have. Some love him, love him, love him. Some do not love him, love him, love him. So what is his number one job tonight?
I think what he's going to try and do is make people remember his record while he was
This guy's hairpiece
president.
freaks me
and then
out.
what Kamala Harris is going to try and do is make people forget her record as vice president. People remember they could afford gas and groceries just a few short years ago. There weren't wars breaking out all over the world. We had a rational, sane southern border policy. So he's got to remind people of that. He's got to expose her radical record at the same time, but he needs to stay on message. He needs to focus on what the American people care about every single day and not run rabbits. There's no doubt she's going to have those can lines ready to go, those contrived stories like she did in the package that you guys just played. Look, she called Joe Biden a racist and a rapist on a debate stage.
There we go.
This is a very disturbed individual.
Oh, cool. We have a Joker ad.
Rated R.
Hey, Flo. Cool leg.
I'm done watching Hassan. Let's see what this guy's talking about.
Where am I missing? Michigan. So they're hitting all of these battleground states over and over and over again. They're hosting rallies that have 10, 15, 20,000 people going to each venue. So she's not making the same mistakes that Hillary Clinton did, where Hillary just basically assumed that she had it in the bag and didn't bother going out to campaign. Kamala Harris and Tim Walz
Kamala isn't really
making sure that they're campaigning all across the battlegrounds as much as they possibly can. So I wouldn't worry about the same thing happening with Hillary happening to Kamala Harris.
Campaigning is not going very well, in my opinion.
Do I ever sleep? Not enough. I am so excited for
how much caffeine addiction do you think he has?
And it to be like March or April of 2025, and there be nothing to talk about. I am so excited. I'm so excited not to work 7 days a week.
I'm so excited for Kamala to win.
Let's see. You guys can throw questions in the chat, and I'll do my best to keep answering them here. Do I think Trump will claim that he won the debate after it's done? Absolutely. Donald Trump.
Well, who wouldn't claim that they win?
Faint on that stage and be out for 90 minutes and wake up and claim that he won the debate. I mean.
All right, back to the funny.
Hillary Clinton wins. I don't care. We're still at war. We're still at war because you are this close to handing Trump ultimate power on this planet. Are you insane? You pathetic losers.
He looked catatonic for a second.
95% chance that Donald Trump is going to be
At
president.
11, 538 still had it at 50-50. It's now 37%.
North Carolina has been called. It goes to Donald Trump. And Wisconsin and Michigan still leaning red. Brought to you by the fucking morons at the Democratic Party.
Woo!
I don't know what CNN is doing, but I bet if you turn into their language now, they're all very hushed tones. Okay, now reporting for Wisconsin still going to Donald Trump. Nobody's saying, hey, we're going to war. Nobody's saying, hey, oh my God, this was a
no, they were just basically crying.
grotesque failure of the Democratic Party that every single person at the DNC should be fired because they're not that animated. They don't care. Oh, I'm a news actor. What does it say in the prompter? Let me read the goddamn prompter. I get paid for this. Am I still getting $10 million a year? Great. Let me read the goddamn prompter. So TikTok, okay? So okay, hang on to your 68-year-old audience, okay? But the younger people have no interest in Wolf Blitzer reading anything to them. No interest at all. So keep on reading your stupid-ass script. We're gonna murder you, okay? We're gonna end you. We're gonna finish you. She can still win, yes.
You think he'd be arrested for that in these days?
She can still win, but
Probably.
in order to do so, she has to win Wisconsin and Michigan.
Maybe not,
which
since
we
I don't
previously
know.
thought
He's
was
kind
not
of
an issue, but it
aligned
most
with
certainly is an
them,
issue
I
now.
guess. I don't know.
The big winner tonight seems to be marijuana, though, and that's a good thing because we need something to ease the pain. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm gonna do as soon as I get home tonight.
Look, you know what's still possible? My exact prediction. She wins Virginia, Pennsylvania, Colorado, and she pulls out New Hampshire, and gets Wisconsin and Michigan. In which case, that would be the exact 272 that I predicted ahead of time.
Fox has called Wisconsin for Trump.
Really?
Well, that's that.
If
That's according
Fox
to
is
Michael
right,
Shore.
first of all, this I'm not going for, okay? We're going to rebuild the Democratic Party to a point where they're going to be afraid of us.
But there's still tens of millions of Americans who wanted nothing more than a guy who wasn't just endorsed by the KKK, but fucking earned that endorsement. He worked for that endorsement.
And the
No,
sexism
Biden was
is so
endorsed
deep.
this.
The sexism is worse than the racism because
You see black men being exterminated on the streets, and you still let a black man in the White House. A lot of people are.
Did she just say sexism is worse than racism?
Going to get their asses whooped behind this. They think these are the people of color from the 50s. You can't roll up on us like you used to roll up on us before.
So the one thing I think Hillary Clinton had right in this election was her.
I was curious about the debate. This makes it easier. Thanks, Indamami. You're welcome.
Criticism on, like, how dare she?
We're watching. We're kind of like switching between different channels right now.
This is Kit asked the question, what's the absolute worst case scenario tonight? Help me steel myself and my anxiety. That's right. This is
what's the worst case scenario?
Everyone's like, give me some good news.
Exactly what's gonna happen? That's what the worst case scenario is.
What's the worst thing that can happen?
Oopsie. That's not what I wanted to do.
You got to keep expectations low. This way you always exceed them. I think the worst case is what we saw with Joe Biden. That's not going to happen with Kamala Harris.
Oh yeah.
That
I mean,
really
nothing
was
could be
the
worse than
absolute
that.
Worst case scenario. I think the worst case is that Donald Trump is able to frame her as being radical, to pin the unpopular Biden policies
my watch
onto her
later
without her being properly able to rebut them. I don't think that's going to happen though. But that is the worst case scenario: is her not being able to define herself, but
there
instead
you go.
allowing Donald Trump to define her
Young
for
Turks.
her.
They're probably streaming
I
right
think
now.
what we need, what best case scenario for those
Aren't
who are
they?
looking for some
Every
something
day
that
the Young
evokes
Turks lovers
Shut up.
and cynicism like myself. Best
Okay,
case
they're live,
scenario
yes.
is that Donald Trump.
Okay, let's see. Wow. All right, what other people would watch this? Both Mexico and the U.S. might get a woman president. Terrifying. Considering who it is. But you guys would love me as president, right? I know you would. Let's see. Let's see this guy.
We'll have to see what that will look like, a new Trump administration. And my little girl, come around here over here. My little girl just got home from dance class, but she's shaking all the cameras here as well. This is my little girl. This is my little girl, Eve.
Aw.
Yeah, my little nugget. How was dance class?
Good.
Good. Okay, so.
Oh,
this big PR campaign around it in order to promote it, to ensure that it does well. But after a group of Democrats complained to Bloomberg about Nuzzy's reporting on Biden, it appears that they might have scrapped that PR campaign altogether. Now, what are they upset about? A piece that she wrote for Intelligencer, New York Magazine. The conspiracy of silence to protect Joe Biden, the president's mental decline, was like a dark family secret for many elite supporters. And this same group of
She's
people
right, though.
also dug into her tweets from many, many years ago, where she's obviously joking, to paint her as some sort of racist, which she is not. Now, joining us to speak about
cancel
this whole
culture?
incident is
You're
the
upset
journalist
about
herself,
cancel
Olivia Nuzzi.
culture?
Olivia, thank you so much for
Really?
joining us.
Thank you for having me.
She's kind of cute.
Give us the
I mean,
details
a bit
about
too much
what
Botox,
ended
but
up
whatever.
happening with
Maybe
this
you seem
PR
pretty
campaign.
phased,
Did they
but
really
Wendigo have the advantage of safe fishing.
Yeah, I mean,
So you could be the
basically,
first
you know, I
anything
published a
president.
story on July 4th.
Yeah,
always
but
love
the
to celebrate July
humans, the
4th
silly
by publishing a
humans.
tough piece
I
about
did be
whoever the
scared of
sitting
my true
president
form,
is.
so
And
I'll probably stick
the
with this one.
Democrats, very predictably, you know, I write feature stories. I cover the presidency. I cover presidential campaigns.
I don't know how
Anytime
these
I write a
people are
story-
shocked that the presidency would like shut her up because of making a bad article. So yeah.
So even college white men, and this to me, these are the guys who should be particularly ashamed. 54-39, because they knew better.
For
Trump.
College educated
What
women.
did they go to college
The only
for?
thing Clinton wins is college white women, 51-45. But even that. So what's staggering is non-college white women.
The women who are college educated.
Non-college white women. 62-34.
Absolutely.
28 points for non-college.
We're socialized to hate each other. Like, if you pay attention to the women, we are the majority. We have
Who
the power.
socializes
But
us
the kind of
though?
hate
Is
that
it
this woman has gotten just because she's
the
a woman,
media?
and I'm not trying to create excuses for
Mm.
her actions that have been questionable. I'm just saying simply on the fact that she is a woman, she is losing, and it's because she's a woman.
Clinton underperformed Obama with blacks. That was expected. And Hispanics.
Yeah, with her accent stuff.
Oh my God, really?
Clinton only won 88% of the black vote. Exit polls in 2012 had Obama at 93.
The
She's
black
at
accent, that's what it was
65% among
called.
Latinos, and Obama won 71%.
Hold on a second. Let me see. I want to see their videos on Kamala. Are they seriously, like, not calling her out on that? Huh? What? Right-wingers are panicking where? They're laughing. They're literally laughing. Unfortunately, this race is a nail biter, and it's like, duh. What? Oh, there's the bipartisan angle that she's trying to do. I mean, this guy's still on his Twitter on the same page.
Polling, does Florida at -2 for Kamala Harris give you hope? If his home state is winnable, that has to be good news, right? Exactly. Look, I think we have to make sure that we are, let's see, do we have any national polling on Florida? It looks like it's not being included in the battleground states.
Why would it? It's like a red state now.
Not being included in the battleground states.
So,
I don't have further information
like,
on Florida. And
there
of
is
course, with
one
all of the polling,
county
we have
in
to
all of
make
Florida
sure
that's
that we
still
have-
Democrat.
That we're not looking at outlier polls.
Like-
But seeing a poll
Oh, and
at
all
-2
the
for Kamala Harris in a state like
brain
Florida,
dead
which has been
people in
trending
chat
redder
are
and
like,
redder
oh
every
yeah,
election
Florida's
cycle,
gonna
in which I
flip
believe,
blue, guys.
Ron
Florida's
DeSantis
gonna
won by,
flip
like,
blue.
certainly double digits in the midterms.
I mean,
is
I'm not really
definitely
sure
against
how to
Kamala
respond
Harris.
to
If she wins his home
delusions.
state, of course, that would be if Kamala Harris is winning Florida.
It's like sometimes
on
I
election
see
night,
things that aren't real,
then
and I feel
that
like
is
I'm less
game
delusional.
over for Republicans. That is
At least I
game over
recognize
to a
it's not
degree that
real.
I don't think we've seen in a long time. That would be bigger than 2018 midterms, where Democrats won by the largest margin in modern American history, won the House. So, keep looking at these polls. Recognize that they're just a snapshot in time. Recognize that there's going to be outliers, and regardless of what we see, make sure that we're still working as if we're down by 5. That's our job.
I mean, they are, so.
Only 65%. Only 65%. Look, everybody let down everybody today. Okay, let's just keep it real.
I'm
on
thinking
that.
about moving
But
to
at
one of the
same
red
time-
pockets in California. I like the weather, just don't like the retards and homeless. I mean, I wouldn't like needing a poop tracker on my phone because of how much shit there is on the sidewalk. That's reasonable. I don't even remember what I was gonna say other than that. But yeah, taxes are still really high. Cost of living is still really high over there. But if you can manage to find somewhere where it isn't completely terrible, you do you. I would just go in with the preparation of having to move. You know?
Latinos,
Just
what
in
have
case.
done? That had needed to be 95%. So for the Latinos who voted for Trump, well, if he kicks out any of your family members, this is Clinton headquarters?
Wait.
Yeah.
I love how he casually just drops a actual racism in there. Like, oh, you're Latino? That must mean you have a legal immigrant family. Oh no, he's gonna deport them. And it's like, you assume all Latinos have family who are illegal immigrants?
I can't wait for this fucking
Okay.
speech. Yeah, sorry I let you down.
For a second on that. So I went outside to take a breather, have a beer, and now I'm back and I'm fired up, okay? Yes, we have the internet, but it takes a significant time or a significant
We have the
amount of
internet, we have the
time and
memes.
resources to sit there and research all the issues on your own. I have no respect for women who voted for Trump, okay?
Yeah, me too.
I think so poorly of them.
Uh-oh,
And the reason
she
why
don't like me.
is because, look, I don't think that you're a single issue voter. I just think you're dumb, okay? I think
Uh-oh.
you're fucking dumb. I'm
Stupid.
losing my mind tonight because of how stupid the majority of the country is.
As a Latina woman, I tell you, I've heard
As
it
a
over and over
Latina
again
woman.
in my family, there's no way a woman can run the country. Really? We're in a household where we are raising a large percentage of the country as single mothers. We have to budget money that we don't have. We have raised people that go get post-secondary educations. How is it that we cannot run a country? I don't respect women, specifically who voted for who
Just
was
clip,
unwilling
I don't
to
respect
be a
women.
child for
Just
sexually
clip that part.
assaulting a child, a pedophile.
Yeah.
Like, let's talk about
Flip image.
grown-ass women who, because what did Dave Chappelle say?
I
Well,
think that charge has got dropped. I mean, I think she's not going to pursue it.
I'm sure she's not.
Oh,
But what
no,
I'm
he's
saying,
not going on trial for that. Not now. Yeah. Another thing we're done with today is the era of politeness.
Absolutely.
So-
Absolutely.
So
I don't remember when they were ever polite. She's still responding. He's still looking at the same page. I'd look at Hassan's, but I don't want to.
progressives don't listen to the Democratic Party who tell you to neuter yourself and be fucking
Oh no,
polite,
people.
okay?
You see through.
The progressives we're not going to be polite anymore. You know what we're going to do? Something that the DNC has cock-blocked this entire fucking time. We're going to fight back. The era of politeness for the progressives is over.
When it comes to poor white people, I'm going to quote my friend Matt Kazam and say, look, I got my own problem. You know, I can't be, I mean, they're the group
Can you
that,
think about me for 1 minute?
No, you're on your own. They are the people who I've said continuously
There we go.
get what they deserve.
Hey, look, man, you got to give us power, man. Because without money, we don't have power. Let's just keep it real. So let's go on a barn burner tour through
That's
the United
hilarious.
States, man. Let's go talk to them. Let's wake them up. Hey, and in whatever language they understand. And you want to get in the beginning. You want to be a little rough verbally, right? And get them a little angry. They'll show up to a rally. They'll show up, right? And the brakes are off now. Okay. So like, hey, you know, before I'm worried about asking you guys to become members.
Oh,
and
I
get
wish
independent
Mr.
media.
Medicare
I'm
was
not worried
streaming
about it at all anymore.
this.
You got to join.
I-
If you don't join, how can we fight back?
Where's
Founders were
Daddy
slave owners
Jim?
Who died when they were 40. Like they weren't such geniuses. And in
Happy,
4
happy,
years,
happy.
When we hopefully beat him with I don't know who. Maybe Hillary Clinton could run again. It's her turn. It's her turn.
And so, shoot.
Is he
I
gonna
lost
actually
the train of
change
thought for
tabs?
the first time in 12 hours.
You're not going to be polite, and Democrats are weak.
Do you guys like my hat?
Does that help?
Not every
10
Trump
years
supporter is
ago,
a
we
racist,
had
but
Steve
every
Jobs,
racist is a Trump
Bob,
supporter.
Hope, and
So
Johnny
here's
Cash.
the ones that
Now
I
we have no
understand.
jobs, no
Okay,
hope,
right now,
no
as we stand
cash.
in the Electoral College,
Please God, don't
244
let Kevin
to
Bacon
Trump
die.
and 215 to Hillary Clinton. So the ones that left
No,
are New Hampshire,
but it's
Pennsylvania,
pretty
Michigan,
funny.
Wisconsin, and Arizona.
I like the hat.
So out of those 5, she
And I
has to
can
win
lean in and like
okay?
show it
We
off.
broke the New York Times needle. It's just stuck at 95%. I think they felt embarrassed to go to 99% before they call it. It's not going to happen. Look, I got to say it. I think that we're at the Young Turks on nights like this, on election nights, we're pretty damn good at this. There's two components. There's two components to the fight back. There's the media. That's us. Okay. So who's it going to be? BuzzFeed. Okay. No offense, BuzzFeed, but you go to play fun games with watermelons. Okay. It's not going to be them.
They did some good investigative journalism.
Is it?
Yeah, they actually have.
Okay, bless their hearts. That's cute. That's cute.
Their political news side is separate.
That's super cute. That's super cute.
And to the motherfuckers
So
on
cute.
Twitter fucking with me right now, I just want you to know, I don't give a fuck. I'm ready for the revolution. You got me fucked up. I'm not that bitch.
What right-wingers love to talk about, take personal responsibility. No, here's the thing. Affirmative action is not the reason why you failed in life. The reason why you failed in life is because you fucking suck, okay? It's because you're a loser.
White folks think, oh my God, if we just get rid of folks. And whenever I say white folks in this country, you know I mean right wingers, right? One corner of this paper is Dakota Pipeline, the other one is Keystone, this one is TPP.
Words to live by,
and this
indeed.
One is corporate tax cuts.
I'm trying to find a good.
Okay. So
I really like
good
the
luck with
dancing
that shit,
thingy.
Okay, we're not doing that. Okay.
I'll
Here's
just
the
put my
list of corporate
milk
donors.
tea. Pilk.
Okay, this is what the Democratic Party is going to do with corporate donors from now on.
No, they
it's in
didn't.
Pennsylvania, and it's 98% reporting, and he's got a 0.8% lead. So
Still
John,
seething, still
go
tap.
ahead.
Like,
Is,
you never change tabs.
Pennsylvania was called.
Like, at least with.
It's over. Okay.
Like, at least with gaming, like, there's something to look at on the screen. Maybe this is just the zoomer in me showing, but, like, have something on the screen. Like, if you just. So, he has the same Twitter post, like, from 20 minutes ago, just on the screen. At least, like, change scenes where it focuses on you. Like, And then this, I don't care about them doing this interview. The fact they're shocked that the DNC deplatformed somebody that doesn't agree with Biden or said the obvious that Biden has dementia. I don't know why they're shocked about that. The fact they're shocked has me shocked. Honestly.
There you go. Donald Trump, next president of the
I'm gonna
United
go
States.
bathroom real quick, guys. But still here.
Have the national organizations called the election?
I haven't seen it.
I mean, he
Not
won
yet.
Pennsylvania. What the fuck are you guys waiting for? It's over.
Alaska could swing.
Yeah. It's over. Okay. Trump's empty podium is back. Well, now well deserved. That's the empty podium of the president-elect.
This is the country we live in.
I think that we can now declare Hillary Clinton the worst candidate in American history. The worst politician. In our lifetime. Certainly in our lifetime. I don't know how, the guys from back in the day, Tippecanoe Canoe and Tyler 2 were. But she lost to a guy named Barack Hussein Obama. He couldn't beat Donald Trump.
Jesus Christ. With everybody on her side. With everybody trying to help her. Frickin' Republicans were coming out of the woodwork to try to help her.
Even Jay-Z tried to help her.
Jay-Z, Beyonce, for Bruce Springsteen.
The Beehive.
Everybody, every frickin' television comedian, everybody was on her side. Even guys like Michael Moore.
Robert De Niro.
Everybody, and she still lost to this guy. What does that tell you?
Donald Trump is president of the United States. We all want to. Well, no, that's not.
We're filming like a sci-fi movie or something.
It kind of feels like Machete. You remember Machete, over the top, purposely over the top.
It's like a grindhouse movie.
Grindhouse. Yeah. And so, but it's real. It's our lives now. Welcome to Idiocracy.
Water check. Everybody drink up.
Jordan, I just want to introduce two new additions here. Well, Steve-O's coming back from a million hours ago, and obviously the Flying Squirrel.
Or just like,
Why? Why?
well,
did
because
that
I'm the
happen?
head strategist from the Clinton campaign, and I just wanted to issue my heartfelt apologies for everything I did.
John Podesta said everybody should
I don't
go home and
remember
get
that
some sleep
part.
because she is not done yet. Clinton will not speak tonight, CNN reports.
Several states are too close to call.
Wow, she won't speak.
She will not speak tonight.
That's a first.
Wow.
She had no message. No message.
What was the message?
What was her message? Hold on. And even her own campaign statement, I'm with her. What does it even mean? You know, he won like 35% of the Latino vote.
Yes.
That's unbelievable
He
to
did.
me. Okay.
Yeah, but they're all in flip.
He won 45% of the women.
There we go.
You know, after she won the nomination, I know for me personally, as a progressive, I wanted so desperately for him not to win that I started playing mind games on myself as well.
Oh, don't worry.
Maybe
You're doing it
maybe
this
she
time
could be
too.
the alt-right falls under that category. These are the racists who don't want to take personal responsibility
They're
for their
never gonna vote
failures
for
in life.
Democrat.
And they're not going to vote for Democrats. You're right.
Guys,
But what I'm trying to say is,
let's try to get I want to do like on Patreon I've started uploading all the stuff from DragonCon, and you can see pictures and videos of me playing with my new puppy that I showed on Discord. Her name is Calypso. Right now she's rolling around on the floor. I don't know if she's gonna end up pissing Xena off, so you might hear some barking because Xena's pissed off. Xena's being very like mom. She's being very nice to very nice to Calypso. I'm very proud of Xena for how nice and yeah, kind she's been. All right.
States of America, Donald Trump.
Oh my God. This is so gross.
What position is Donald Trump Jr. Okay, so did you?
I can't believe Melania is our first lady.
I want to throw up.
Yeah.
I want to throw up.
Yeah.
Yes.
So if you'd said
It's
election
beginning.
night, 2016, the president-elect comes down. It's Donald Trump. 2 years ago, everyone would have laughed their ass off.
Do you remember?
Donald Trump, don't be. Who was his vice president? Dennis Rodman.
You remember when Ellison brought it up on George Snuffleupagus?
Oh, it is funny.
Everybody laughed at him.
Yep.
It's he's gonna be in the history books. Like
He is already.
Kids are gonna be taught about him in elementary school.
Listen.
He
And
is.
everything he does.
Let's pull it back up.
USA, USA, USA.
Thank you.
All right. Ooh. Consumer cellular. Public broadcasting. Yeah, we know. It's funded by the government. Great. I'm so happy. Can't you see how happy I am? Can you see how happy I am? Okay.
To PBS News special live coverage of the ABC News presidential debate in Philadelphia.
Oh, it's on
I'm Jeff
ABC.
Bennett.
And I'm Amna Navaz. Tonight is a high-pressure moment for both.
Well, I don't want to watch. Oh, whatever. C-SPAN works well.
Debate is beginning. We'll take you there now.
Face-to-face meeting ever.
A historic race for president upended just weeks ago. President Biden withdrawing after his last.
It should have ended like 4 years ago, dude.
The candidates separated by the smallest of margins, essentially tied in the polls nationally, and in the key
I'll be
battlegrounds,
nice.
including right
3
here in
years ago.
Pennsylvania, all still very much in play. The ABC News presidential debate starts right now.
This is an ABC News special. The most consequential moment of this campaign. Kamala Harris.
Together, we will chart a new way forward.
Donald Trump.
We will soon be a great nation again.
Face to face. Historic. The ABC News presidential debate. Here now, David Muir and Lindsay Davis.
Good evening, I'm David Muir, and thank you for joining us for tonight's ABC News presidential debate. We want to welcome viewers watching on ABC And around
I've
the
watched
world,
him.
Vice President Kamala Harris and
Wasn't
President
he on a
Donald Trump
different
are
news
just moments
channel
away from taking the stage
at some
in this
point?
unprecedented race for president.
And I'm Lindsay Davis. Tonight's meeting could be the most consequential event of their campaigns, with Election Day now less
Hold
than
on,
2
I want to
months
make sure
away.
that I have the
For
Young
Vice
Turks
President
pulled up
Kamala
in
Harris,
case
this is
something
her
funny
first debate
happens.
since President
Thank you,
Biden
Jerry.
withdrew from the race on July 21st. Of course, that decision followed his debate against President Donald Trump in June.
There we
Since
go.
then, this race has taken on an entirely
I want to
new
make sure that we
dynamic.
have them
That
pulled
brings us
up.
to the rules of tonight's debate. 90 minutes with 2 commercial breaks. No topics or questions have been shared.
Why
with the
do they have
campaigns.
rap?
The candidates will have 2 minutes to answer questions, and this is the clock.
Remember the one time they said
2 minutes
that
for rebuttals and 1
they
minute for follow-ups,
didn't share
clarifications,
anything
or
with the
responses.
opposing side,
The
and then they
microphones
actually
will only
did,
be turned on
and
when
they
it's
still
your turn to
lost?
speak. No
That was
pre-written notes
funny.
allowed. There is no audience here tonight in this hall at the National Constitution Center. This is an intimate setting for 2
I'm
candidates
autistic too.
who have never met.
President Trump won
The
the
fuck's
coin toss.
happening?
He chose to deliver the final
Oh,
closing
my
statement
puppy
of
is
the
chewing
evening.
on the floor.
Vice President Harris selected the podium to the right.
So let's
As long
now
as she's
welcome
not having an
candidates to the
accent, I'm
stage.
happy.
Vice President Kamala Harris and
I woke up at
President
like 4
Donald
o'clock to take her outside. Shake hands.
Kamala Harris. Let's have a good debate.
Have fun.
Thank you.
Have fun.
Welcome to you both. It's wonderful to have you.
She was
It's an honor.
probably told to actually
Good
shake his
evening.
hand
We are
because
looking
last
forward
time
to
they
a
didn't.
spirited and thoughtful
We're all
debate.
autistic because
So
we all
let's
watch
get started.
VTubers.
I want
Yeah.
to begin tonight with the issue
We
that
also
voters
all
repeatedly
watch
say is
Mr.
their number
Medicare,
one issue,
so
and that
that's
is
like
the
extreme
economy and the
autism.
cost of living in this country. Vice President Harris, you and President Trump were elected 4 years ago, and your opponent on the stage here tonight often asks his supporters, are you better off than you were 4 years ago? When it comes to the economy, do you believe Americans are better off than they were 4 years ago?
So I was raised as a middle-class kid.
What the fuck? It's a
I'm
yes or
actually
no
the only
question,
person
bitch.
on this stage who has a plan that is about lifting up the middle class and working people of America. I believe in the ambition, the aspirations.
This election season is probably
What
the
just
part
happened?
We don't have adequate coverage of both.
We know that we have a shortage of homes and housing, and the cost of housing is too expensive for far too many people. We know that young families need support to raise their children, and I intend on extending a tax cut.
She never answered the question. She never answered the question. I just realized that. Do you think Americans are doing better off right now?
Families can afford to buy a crib.
When I was a little girl.
My passion, one of them, is small businesses. I was actually, my mother raised my
Bullshit.
sister, but there was a woman
Bullshit,
who helped raise us.
Kamala.
We call her our second mother. She was a small business owner.
Name one small business that you're wearing right
My
now.
plan is to give a $50,000 tax deduction to start
Medicare's
up small
awesome.
businesses, knowing they are part of the
One of the
backbone
best
America's
YouTubers
economy.
ever.
My
Inspired
husband, on the
me.
other hand, his plan is to do what he has done before, which is to provide a tax cut for billionaires and big corporations, which will result in $5 trillion to America's deficit.
Here's an easy question. Is gas cheaper now, or was it cheaper 5 years ago? That's the answer.
Trump sales tax would actually result for middle-class families in about $4,000 more a
She's
year
still rolling on the floor.
because of his policies and his ideas about
She hasn't
what
had an
should be
accident, so.
the backs of middle-class people paying for tax cuts for billionaires.
God, is her 2 minutes done?
First of all, I have no sales tax. That's an incorrect statement. She knows that. We're doing tariffs on other countries. Other countries are going to finally, after 75 years, pay us back for all that we've done for the world.
Yeah.
And the tariff will be substantial in some cases. I took in billions and billions of dollars, as you know, from China. In fact, they never
China.
took the tariff
He said it.
off
He said it,
because
guys.
so
He
much
said it.
money they
China.
can't. It would totally
China.
destroy everything that
China.
they set out to do. They're taking in billions of dollars from China and other places. They've left the tariffs on. When I had it, I had tariffs, and yet I had no inflation. Look, we've had a terrible economy because inflation has, which is really known as a country buster. It breaks up countries. We have inflation like very few people have ever seen before, probably the worst in our nation's history. We were at 21%. But
Oh,
that's
what's
being
on your
generous
bingo
because
card?
Many things are 50, 60, 70,
I have
80% higher.
that's
than they were
completely
just
not
a few
true.
years ago.
I
This
have
has
the
been a disaster for
witch
people, for the
cackle.
middle class,
I
for the
have
underclass. On top of that, we have
the economy's
millions
great.
of people pouring into our country from prisons and jails, from mental institutions and insane asylums, and they're coming in and they're taking jobs that are occupied right now by African Americans and Hispanics, and also unions. Unions are going to be affected very soon. And you see what's happening. You see what's happening with towns throughout the United States. You look at Springfield, Ohio. You look at Aurora in Colorado. They are taking over the towns. They're taking over buildings. They're going in violently.
I'm gonna.
These are the people
That's not
that
true.
she
That's not
and
true.
Biden
She's
brought
writing
into our
something
country,
down.
and they're destroying our country. They're dangerous. They're at the highest level of criminality, and we have to get them out. We have to get them out fast. I created one of the greatest economies in the history of our country. I'll do it again and even better.
We are going to get to immigration and border security during this debate, but I would like to let Vice President Harris respond on the economy here.
Do the laugh.
I would love to. Let's talk about what Donald Trump left us. Donald Trump
He left you
us
cold.
the worst unemployment since the Great Depression.
That's what?
Donald Trump left us the worst public health epidemic in a century.
How is that
Trump
his
left
fault?
us the
Did he
worst
create the
attack on
coronavirus?
democracy since the Civil
Oh no,
War.
I said it. No.
And what we have done
It's gonna
is
be on
clean
my
up
thing
Donald
now.
Trump's mess. What
Oops.
we have done and what I intend to do is build on what we know are the aspirations and the hopes of the American people. But I'm going to tell you all in this debate tonight, you're going to hear from the same old tired playbook, a bunch of lies, grievances,
Oh,
and name
lies. That's what it
What
is.
you're going to hear tonight
Silly me.
is a detailed and dangerous plan called Project 2025 that the former president intends on implementing if he were elected again. I believe very
Yeah, it's
strongly
called a presidential
that the American
plan.
people want a president who understands the importance of bringing
China.
us together, knowing we have so much more in common.
Yep,
than what
sure
separates
was.
us.
But you know,
And I pledge to you to be
remember
the
when
president
people
for
said
all
that's a
Americans.
conspiracy
President
theory?
Trump will give you a minute here to respond.
Number one, I have nothing to do, as you know, and as she knows better than anyone, I have nothing to do with Project 2025. That's out there. I haven't read it. I don't want to read it purposely. I'm not going to read it. This was a group of people that got together. They came up with some ideas, I guess some good, some bad, but it makes no difference. I have nothing to do. Everybody knows I'm an open book. Everybody knows what I'm going to do. Cut taxes very substantially and create a great economy like I did before. We had the greatest economy.
I'll
We
tell
got
you-
hit with a pandemic.
Can you please turn
And the
up?
pandemic
Okay.
was not
I got it.
since 1917, where 100 million people died. Has there been anything like it? We did a phenomenal job with the pandemic. We handed them over a country where the economy and where the stock market
Is that
is
better?
higher than it was before the pandemic came in. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. We made ventilators for the entire world. We got gowns, we got masks, we did things that nobody thought possible. And people give me credit
What
for
they're
rebuilding
now
the
doing.
military. They give me credit for a lot of things, but not enough credit for the great job we did with the pandemic. But the only jobs they got were bounce back jobs. These were jobs bounced back, and it bounced back and it went to their benefit.
crawling.
But I was the one that created
Hey,
them. They
baby.
know it, and so does everybody else.
Vice President Harris, I'll let you respond.
So, Donald Trump has no plan for you. And when you look at his economic plan, it's all about tax breaks for the richest people. I am offering what I describe as an opportunity economy, and the best economists in our country,
opportunity
if not the world,
economy.
have reviewed our relative plans
Okay.
for the future of America.
Is
What Goldman
her
Sachs has said
source
is that Donald
just trust me,
Trump's
bro?
plan would make the economy worse. Mine would strengthen the economy.
Did she just say Goldman Sachs agrees with her? We need that to sink in for a second. Goldman Sachs, Wall Street, Wall Street. I'm pretty surprised. I never thought, that Democrats would want Wall Street to agree with them.
Plan. It's a great plan. It's a plan that's going to bring up our worth, our value as a country. It's going to make people
Hold
want to
up.
be able to go and work and create jobs and create a lot of good, solid money for our country. And just to finish off, she doesn't have a plan. She copied Biden's plan, and
Yeah.
it's like 4 sentences, like run, stop, run. 4 sentences that are just, oh, we'll try and lower taxes. She doesn't have a plan. Take a look at her plan. She doesn't have a plan.
Mr. President, I do want to drill down on something you both brought up. The Vice President brought up
They're
your
still not
tariffs. You
watching it.
responded, and let's drill down on this because your plan
Let's
is
see.
what she calls is essentially a national sales tax. Your proposal calls for tariffs, as you pointed out here, on foreign imports across the board. You recently said that you might double your plan, imposing tariffs up to 20% on goods coming into
Let's
this
see this
country.
guy.
As you know, many economists say that with tariffs at that level, costs are then passed on to the consumer. Vice President Harris has argued it'll mean higher
Do they
prices
just
on
like
gas,
disconnect
food,
their stream
clothing,
every time he
medication,
speaks?
arguing it costs the typical family nearly $4,000 a year. Do you believe Americans can afford higher prices because of tariffs?
They're not going to have higher prices. What's going to have and who's going to have higher prices is China and all of the countries that have been ripping us off for
How do they
years.
know?
I
Do
showed
they
I
not
was
know
the
how
only
tariffs
president
work?
Ever. China was paying us hundreds of billions of dollars,
Last
and so were other countries.
Democrat
And, you know, if
Donald
she doesn't
debated
like 'em,
also had
they
a
should have
shit-eating
gone out and they should
grin
have
and was
immediately
always
cut the
laughing
tariffs.
when
But those
Donald
tariffs
was
are there
speaking.
3.5 years
Yeah.
now under their
True.
administration. We are going to take in billions of dollars, hundreds of billions of dollars. I had no inflation, virtually no inflation. They had the highest inflation perhaps in the history of our country because I've never seen a worse period of time. People can't go out and buy cereal or bacon or eggs or anything else. The people of our country are absolutely dying with what they've done. They've destroyed the economy. And all you have to do is look at a poll. The polls say 80 and 85 and even 90% that the Trump economy was great, that their economy was terrible.
Vice President Harris, I do want to ask for your response, and you heard what the president said there, because the Biden administration did keep a number of the Trump tariffs in place. So how do you respond?
Well, let's be clear that the Trump administration resulted in a trade deficit, one of the highest we've ever seen in the history of
So
America.
then why did you keep
He
it?
invited trade wars. You want to talk about
Why
his
did you keep
deal
it then?
with China?
She
What he
didn't
ended up
answer
doing
the
is under Donald Trump's presidency, he ended up selling American chips to China
Chips.
to help them
I like chips.
improve and modernize their military. Basically sold us out when a policy about
Yeah, what about our
China
oil?
in making
Where's the
sure
oil,
the United
Kamala?
States of America wins the competition for the 21st century, which means focusing on the details of what that requires, focusing on relationships with our allies, focusing on investing in American-based technology so that we win the race on AI, on quantum computing, focusing on what we need to do to support America's workforce so that we don't end up having on the short end of the stick in terms of workers' rights. But what Donald Trump did, let's talk about this, with COVID, is he actually thanked President Xi for what he did during COVID. Look at his tweet. Thank you, President Xi, exclamation point, when we know that
Do you
Xi
think
was
that she rehearsed that
responsible
line?
for lacking and not giving us transparency about the origins of COVID.
President Trump, I'll let you respond.
First of all, they bought their chips from Taiwan. We hardly make chips anymore because of philosophies like they have and policies like they have. I don't say her because she has no policy. Everything that she believed 3 years ago and 4 years ago is out the window. She's going to my philosophy now. In fact, I was going to send her a MAGA hat. She's gone to my philosophy. But if she ever got elected, she'd change it. And
Yeah,
it
because
will be the
she's
end of
literally
our country.
taking his shit,
She's
like-
a Marxist. Everybody knows she's a Marxist.
Oh,
Her
my puppy
father's
is
a
biting my
Marxist
toe.
professor in economics, and he taught her
Nord
well.
Stream
But
Kabbalah
when you
Harris.
look at what she's done to our country,
Yeah,
and
thank
when
you for
look at
reminding me of
these
that, Pampa.
millions and millions of people that are pouring into our country monthly, where it's, I believe, 21 million people, not the 15 that people say, and I think it's a lot higher than the 21. That's bigger than New York State pouring in. And just look at what they're
You want a
doing to our
Frito?
country.
You want a
They're
Frito,
criminals.
baby?
Many of these people coming in are criminals. And that's bad for our economy, too. You know, you mentioned
where's the
before, we'll talk
Frito?
about immigration later.
Where is
Well,
it?
bad immigration is the worst thing that can happen to our economy. They have, and she has, destroyed our country with policy that's insane. Almost policy that you'd say they have to hate our country.
President Trump, thank you. Lindsay?
I want to turn to the issue of abortion. President Trump, you've often
Okay, here we go,
touted that
here we
you were
go.
able to kill Roe v. Wade. Last year, you said that you were
He sure
proud to
did.
be the most pro-life president in American history. Then last month, you said that your administration would be great for women and their reproductive rights. In your home state of Florida, you surprised many with regard to your 6-week abortion ban because you initially had said that it was too short. And you said, quote, I'm going to be voting that we need more than 6 weeks. But then the very next day, you reversed reversed course and said you would vote to support the 6-week ban. Vice President Harris says that women shouldn't trust you on the issue of abortion because you've changed your position so many times. Therefore, why should they trust you?
Well, the reason I'm doing that vote is because the plan is, as you know, the vote is, they have abortion in the 9th month. They even have, and you can look at the governor of West Virginia, the previous governor of West Virginia, not the current governor, is doing an excellent job. But the governor before, he said the baby will be born and we will decide what to do with the baby. In other words, we'll execute the baby. And that's why I did that, because that predominates, because they're radical. The Democrats are radical in that. And her vice presidential pick, which I think was a horrible pick, by the way, for our country, because he is really out of it. But her vice presidential pick says abortion in the 9th month is absolutely fine. He also says execution after birth. It's execution, no longer abortion, because the baby is born, is okay. And that's not okay with me, hence the vote. But what I did is something for 52 years they've been trying to get Roe v. Wade into the states. And through the genius and heart and strength of 6 Supreme Court justices,
She's playing with
we
my
were
clothes.
able to do that. Now, I believe in the exceptions for rape, incest, and life of the mother. I believe strongly in it. Ronald Reagan did also. 85% of
I
Republicans
think him
do.
going with
Exceptions.
Ronald
Very
Reagan's
important. But we were
stance
able to
is
get
really
it,
a
and
good
now
idea.
states are voting on it. And for the first time, you're going to see, look, this is an issue that's torn our country apart for 52 years. Every legal scholar, every Democrat, every Republican, liberal, conservative,
He's kept
they
his
all
position
wanted
on
this
this pretty
issue to be
solid,
brought
though.
back to the states where the people could vote. And
I think
what
that's
happened. Now, Ohio, the vote was somewhat liberal. Kansas, the vote was somewhat liberal, much more liberal than people would have thought. But each individual state is voting. It's the vote of the people now. It's not tied up in the federal government. I did a great service in doing it. It took courage to do it. And the Supreme Court had great courage in doing it. And I give tremendous credit to those 6 justices.
There is no state in this country where it is legal to kill a baby after it's born. Madam Vice President, I want to get your response.
Now she's debating too.
Well, as I said, you're going to hear a bunch of lies, and that's not actually a surprising fact. Let's understand how we got here. Donald Trump.
Guys, get it off your bingo card. Lies. What you're hearing is lies.
And now in over 20 states, there are Trump abortion bans.
Trump abortion bans? Is that what it's written?
For a doctor
Donald
or nurse
will
to
provide women
healthcare.
books.
In one state, it provides prison for life. Trump abortion bans that make no exception even for rape and incest, which understand what that means. A survivor of a crime of violation
he just
to their
said
body
the opposite.
does not have the
Hello?
right to make a decision about what happens to their body next.
I don't know, maybe the microphone in your ear is too loud. I think that people are not well educated on like the medical side of sexual intercourse. I feel like the more that you are, the more you take it seriously. And not like, oh, STD bad, no sex, like in school, like genuine medical study. But I don't know. I'm an outlier in that I've never found those actions that appealing. Autism moment. But yeah. That's just me. Let's see what she's yapping about.
But understand, if Donald Trump were to be reelected, he will sign a national abortion ban. Understand, in his Project 2025, there would be a national abortion, a monitor that would be monitoring your pregnancies, your miscarriages. I think the American people believe that certain freedoms,
This is just
in
so
particular
bad.
the freedom to make decisions about one's
Hecking
own body,
science.
should
Yeah.
not be made by the government.
Thank you, Vice President.
I don't know what
Harris.
she's
Well, there she goes again. It's a lie. I'm not signing a ban, and there's no reason to sign a ban.
Okay,
because
he's not
we've
streaming.
gotten what everybody wanted. Democrats, Republicans, and everybody else and every legal scholar wanted it to be brought back into the states, and the states are voting. And it may take a little time, but for 52 years, this issue has torn our country apart, and they've wanted it back in the states. And I did something that nobody thought was possible. The states are now voting. What she says is an absolute lie. And as far as the
My
abortion
sister sent
ban,
me a text.
no, I'm not in favor of abortion ban, but it doesn't matter because this issue has now been taken over by the states.
Would you veto a national abortion ban if it came
Well,
to
I
your
won't
desk?
have to because, again, two things. Number one, she said she'll go back to Congress. She'll never get the vote. It's impossible for her to get the vote, especially now with the 50-50, and essentially 50-50 in both
that's
Senate
annoying.
and the House. She's not going to get the vote. She can't get the vote. She won't even come close to it. So it's just talk. You know what it reminds me of when they said they're going to get student loans terminated?
Oh, yeah,
and it
that was
ended
a
up being
joke.
total catastrophe. The student loans, and then her, I think probably her boss, if you call him a boss, he spends all his time on the beach. But look, her boss went out and said, we'll do it again. We'll do it a different way. And he went out, got rejected again by the Supreme Court. So all these students got taunted with this whole thing about this whole idea.
I remember.
And how unfair that would have been. Part of the reason they lost to the millions and millions of people that had to pay off their student loans. They didn't get it for free. But they were saying it's the same way that they talked about that they talk about abortion.
But if I could just get a yes or no, because your running mate, J.D. Vance, has said that you would veto it if it did come to your desk.
Well, I didn't discuss it with J.D. In all fairness, J.D., and I don't mind if he has a certain view, but I think he was speaking for me, but I really didn't. Look, we don't have to discuss it because she'd never be able to get it, just like she couldn't get student loans. They couldn't get student loans. They didn't even come close to getting student loans. They taunted young people and a lot of other people that
I
had
forgot
loans.
what we were talking
They
about.
can never get this approved. So it doesn't matter what she says about going to Congress. Well, wonderful. Let's go to Congress. Do it.
Oh,
But the
Hassan's
fact
probably
is that
molding.
for
I'm gonna
years, they
listen.
wanted
I don't
get
wanna
it
listen
out
to
of
him.
Congress and out of the federal government, and we did something that everybody said couldn't be done. And now you have a vote of the people on abortion.
Vice President Harris, I want to give you your time to respond, but I do want to ask, would you support any restrictions on a woman's right to an abortion?
I absolutely support reinstating the protections of Roe v. Wade, and as you rightly mentioned, nowhere in America is a woman carrying a pregnancy to term and asking for an abortion. That is not happening. It's insulting to the women of America.
Yeah.
And understand what has been happening under Donald Trump's abortion bans. Couples who pray and dream of having a family are being denied IVF treatments. What is happening in our country?
Where?
Working people, working women who are working 1 or 2 jobs, who can barely afford childcare as it is, have to travel to another state to get on a plane sitting next to strangers to go and get the health care she needs. Barely can afford to do it, and what you are
Don't worry, there's no child care costs if there's no child, so that kind of abortion thing, I guess, fixes that problem if you think about it. Yikes.
people of America have voted for freedom.
Vice President Harris,
Excuse me, I
thank
have
you.
to respond. Another lie. It's another lie. I have been a leader on IVF, which is fertilization. The IVF, I have been a leader. In fact, when they got a very negative decision on IVF from the Alabama courts,
Yeah.
I saw the people of Alabama and the legislature 2 days later voted
Most
it in.
people don't have,
I've been a leader on it.
brain-
They know that.
Oh, I was
and
just
everybody
making a
else
joke,
knows it.
Compa.
I have been a
You know.
leader on fertilization, IVF. And the other thing, you should ask, will she allow abortion in the 8th month, 9th month, 7th month?
Come on.
Okay, would you do that? Why don't you ask her that question?
Why don't you answer
That's
the
problem.
question? Would you
because
veto?
under Roe v.
Answer
Wade,
the question,
you
would you
could
veto?
you could do abortions in the 7th month, the 8th month, the ninth month,
not true.
and probably after birth. Just look at the former governor of Virginia. The governor of Virginia said
did
we
say
put
that.
the baby aside and then we determine what we want to do with the baby.
President Trump, thank you.
We're going to turn now to immigration and border security. We know it's an issue that's important to
Oh,
Republicans,
no.
Democrats, voters across the board in this country.
She fucked
Vice
this one
President
up.
Harris, you were tasked by President Biden with getting to the root causes of migration from Central America. We know that illegal border crossings reached a record high in the Biden administration. This past June, President Biden imposed tough new asylum restrictions. We know the numbers since then have dropped significantly. But my question to you tonight is, why did the administration wait until 6 months before the election to act? And would you have done anything differently
Because they
from President
needed-
Biden on this?
So I'm the only person on this stage who has prosecuted transnational criminal organizations for the
Oh,
trafficking
great,
of
yeah.
guns,
She's trying this
drugs,
angle.
and human beings. And let me say that the United States Congress, including some of the most conservative members of the United States Senate, came up with a border security bill which I supported. And that bill would have put 1,500 more border agents on the border to help those folks who are working there right now overtime trying to do their job. It would have allowed us to stem the flow of fentanyl coming into the United States. I know there are so many families watching tonight who have been personally affected by the surge of fentanyl in our country. That bill would have put more resources to allow us to prosecute transnational criminal organizations for trafficking in guns, drugs, and human beings. But you know what happened to that bill? Donald Trump got on the phone, called up some folks in Congress, and said, kill the bill. And you know why? Because he'd prefer to run on a problem instead of fixing a problem.
Ah, thank
And
God I got to
understand,
skip over some of
this
her
comes
nonsense.
at a time where the people of our country actually need a leader who engages in solutions, who actually addresses the problems at hand. But what we have in the former president is someone who would prefer to run on a problem instead of fixing a problem. And I'll tell you something, he's going to talk about immigration a lot tonight, even when it's not the subject that is being raised. And I'm going to actually do something really unusual, and I'm going to invite you to attend one of Donald Trump's rallies, because it's a really interesting thing to watch.
Dude,
Dude,
does she understand what she just said? Dude, oh my God. She just threw, guys. She threw. She hard threw. Oh my God. She threw. It's over. It's over. I can't believe she just did that. Please tell me they're reacting to this. Please. Nope. And no.
The people that do go, she's busing them in and paying them to be there, and then showing them in a
God,
different
she
light.
looks
so
so
she
much
can't
like
talk
Hillary
about that. People
Clinton.
don't leave my rallies. We have the biggest rallies, the most incredible rallies in the history of politics. That's because people want to take their country back. Our country is being lost. We're a failing nation, and it happened 3.5 years ago. And what's going on here, you're going to end up in World War III, just to go into another subject. What they have done to our country by allowing these millions and millions of people to come into our country, and look at what's happening to the towns all over the United States. And a lot of towns don't want to talk. It's not going to be Aurora or Springfield. A lot of towns don't want to talk about it because they're so embarrassed by it. In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating
The laugh.
They're eating the pets.
Mark it off, guys. She did the laugh. Oh, your dog and cat's being eaten. Your animal got eaten. That's hilarious. Oh my God. So funny. You know, the gore of it is on Twitter, but so funny. So funny.
Chance of success, not only success, will end up being Venezuela on steroids.
I just want to clarify here. You bring up Springfield, Ohio, and ABC News did reach out to the city manager there. He told us there have been no credible reports of specific claims of pets being harmed, injured, or abused by individuals within the immigrant community.
Well, I've seen people on television.
Let me just say here, this is
the people on television say my dog was taken, and used for food. So maybe he said that, and maybe that's a good
Yeah.
thing to say for a city manager.
I'm not taking this from
But
television.
the people are
I'm
on
taking it from
television
the city
saying
manager.
their dog was eaten by the people that went there.
Yeah, the city
Again,
manager.
the Springfield city manager says there's no evidence of that. Vice
We'll
President
find
Harris,
out.
I'll let you respond to the rest of what you've heard.
You talk about extreme.
Oh, I can't listen to her laugh. I can't do it, bros. Like even as a joke, it's very hard to replicate. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I've detoxed enough from her voice.
Former national security advisor has said he is dangerous and unfit. His former...
Oh, she's just skipped over the question. Cool. Okay, it's back to Trump.
When I hear that, see, I'm a different kind of a person. I fired most of those people. Not so graciously. They did bad things or a bad job. I fired them. They never fired one person. They didn't fire anybody having to do with Afghanistan and the Taliban. They can write books with nobody else, can they? But they have done such a poor job, and they never fire anybody.
We disconnected for a second.
They didn't fire
That
any
happens
of their
sometimes.
economists. They have the same people. That's a good way not to have books written about you. But just to finish, I got more votes than any Republican in history by far. In fact, I got more votes than any president, sitting president in history by far.
Let me continue on immigration. It was what you wanted to talk about earlier, so let's get back to your deportation proposal that the vice president has reacted to as well. President Trump, you call this the largest domestic deportation operation in the history of our country. You say
Now
you
it's
would
back.
use the
We're
National
back.
Guard. You say if things get out of control, you'd have no problem using the U.S.
With local
military.
police, yes.
You also said you would use local police. How would you deport 11 million undocumented immigrants? I know you believe that number is much higher. Take us through this. What does this look like? Will authorities be going door to door in this country?
Yeah, it is much higher because of them. They allowed criminals, many, many millions of criminals. They allowed terrorists. They allowed common street criminals. They allowed people to come in, drug dealers, to come into our country.
There we
They're
go,
now
yes.
in the United States and told by
You should
their countries
hit
like
on the
Venezuela,
fentanyl part.
don't ever come back or we're going to kill you. Do you know that crime in Venezuela and crime in countries all over the world is way down? You know why? Because they've taken their criminals off the street and they've given them to her to put into our country. And this will be one of the greatest mistakes in history for them to allow, and I think they probably did it because they think they're going to get votes, but it's not worth it because they're destroying the fabric of our country by what they've done. There's never been anything done like this at all. They've destroyed the fabric of our country. Millions of people let in, and all over the world, crime is down all over the world except here. Crime here is up and through the roof. Despite their fraudulent statements that they made, crime in this country is through the roof. And we have a new form of crime. It's called migrant crime. And it's happening at levels that nobody thought possible.
President Trump, as you know, the FBI says overall violent crime is actually coming down in this country. But Vice
Excuse me,
President
the
Harris,
FBI they were defrauding statements. They didn't include the worst cities. They didn't include the cities with the worst crime. It was a fraud. Just like their number of 818,000 jobs that they said they created turned out to be a fraud.
President Trump, thank you. I'll let you respond, Vice President Harris.
Well, I think this is so rich, coming from someone who has been prosecuted for national security crimes, economic crimes, election interference, has been found liable
Is she gonna
for
actually
sexual
answer
assault,
the-
and his next big court appearance is in November at his own criminal sentencing. And let's be clear, where each person stands on the issue of what is important about respect for the rule of law and respect for law enforcement. The former vice president called for defunding federal law enforcement, $45 1,000 agents.
Yeah, the
get
CIA,
this,
the
on the day
CIA and the
after he was
FBI.
arraigned on 34 felony counts. So let's talk about what is important in this race. It is important that we move forward, that we turn the page on this same old tired rhetoric and address the needs of the American people, address what we need to do
She
about the
is
housing
just
shortage,
not
which
answering.
I have a plan for. Address
The
what we
housing
must do to
shortage.
support our small
This
businesses.
is the
Address
illegal
bringing down the price of
immigration
groceries.
question. Come on.
But frankly, the American people are exhausted with this same old tired playbook.
Vice President Harris, thank you.
Excuse me. Every one of those cases was started by them against their political opponent. And I'm winning most of them, and I will win the rest on appeal. And you saw that with the decision that came down just recently from the Supreme Court. I'm winning most of them. But those are cases, it's called weaponization. Never happened in
Aw, I wish he called her out on that one part. Damn.
to the Attorney General of New York and the DA in New York, every one of those cases. And then they say, oh, he's a criminal. They're the ones that made them go after me. By the way, Joe Biden was found essentially guilty on the documents case. And what happened in my documents case? They said, oh, that's the toughest of them all. A complete and total victory. 2 months ago, it was thrown out. It's weaponization, and they used it, and it's never happened in this country. They used it to try and win an election. They're fake cases.
President Trump, thank you. A really quick response here, Vice President Harris, on this notion of weaponization of the Justice Department.
Well, let's talk about extreme and understand the context in which this election in 2024 is taking place. The United States Supreme Court recently ruled that the former president would essentially be immune from any misconduct if he were to enter the White House again. Understand, this is someone who has openly said he would terminate, I'm quoting, terminate the Constitution of the United States, that he would weaponize
He never said
the
that.
Department of Justice against his political enemies. Someone who has openly expressed disdain
She's just not answering
for
anything.
members of our military.
I'm gonna check Hassan's stream. Let's see. Debate. Let's see. Damn. Case of streaming. Let's see.
Now you're taking a harder line. I know you say that your values have not changed. So then why have so many of your policy positions changed?
So my values have not changed, and I'm going to discuss every one of the, at least every point that you've made.
They're saying Harris looks really good here.
Criminalizing border crossings. Now you're taking a harder line. I know you say that your values have not changed. So then why have so many of your policy positions changed?
So my values have not changed, and I'm going to discuss every one of the, at least every point that you've made. But in particular, let's talk about fracking, because we're here in Pennsylvania. I made that very clear in 2020. I will not ban fracking. I have not banned fracking as Vice President of the United States, and in fact, I was the tie-breaking vote on the Inflation Reduction Act, which opened new leases for fracking. My position is that we have got to invest in diverse sources of energy so we reduce our reliance on foreign oil. We have had the largest increase in domestic oil production in history because of an approach that recognizes that we cannot
what about that
over-rely
pipeline
on
that
foreign
got shut
oil.
down?
As
Or
it
is
relates
that
to my
oh,
values,
doesn't
let me tell you,
exist?
I grew up a middle-class kid raised by a hardworking mother who worked
How many
and
times is she
saved
gonna pull
and
that
was
card?
able to buy our first home when I was a teenager. The values I bring to the importance of home ownership, knowing not everybody got handed $400 million on a silver platter and then filed bankruptcy 6 times, is a value that I bring to my work to say we are going to work with the private sector and home builders to increase 3 million homes, increase by 3 million homes by the end of my first term. My work that is related to having a friend when I was in high school who was sexually assaulted by her stepfather. And my focus then
Why would you
on
bring that
protecting
up?
women and children from violent crime is based on a value that is deeply grounded in the importance of standing up for those who are most vulnerable. My work that is about protecting Social Security and Medicare is based on long-standing work that I have done, protecting seniors from scams.
I wouldn't exactly
My
want
values have not changed. And what is important is that there is a president who actually brings values and a perspective that is about lifting people up and not beating people down and name-calling. The true measure of the leader is the
What
leader
the
who
fuck
actually
is she
understands
talking about,
the
dude?
strength is not
That's
in beating
the
people
Hassan
down, it's
closest
in lifting
stream.
people up. I intend to be that president.
President Trump, your
Well,
response?
first of all, I wasn't given $400 million. I wish I was. My father was a Brooklyn builder, Brooklyn, Queens, and a great father, and I learned a lot from him. But I was given a fraction of that, a tiny fraction, and I built it into many, many billions of dollars, many, many billions. And when people see it, they are even surprised. So we don't have to talk about that. Fracking, she's been against it for 12 years.
This
Defund the
chat is
police,
actually
she's
laughing
been
at
against
him
that
right now.
forever. She gave all that stuff up very wrongly, very horribly, and everybody's laughing at it, okay? They're all laughing at it. She gave up at least 12 and probably 14 or 15 different policies. Like, she was big on defund the police. In Minnesota, she went out, wait a minute, I'm talking now, if you don't mind, please. Does that sound familiar?
Don't lie.
She went out in Minnesota and wanted to let criminals that killed
God,
people,
it is
that
a
burned
shit-eating
down
grin.
Minneapolis. She went out and raised money to get them out of jail. She did things that nobody would ever think of. Now she wants to do transgender operations on illegal aliens that are in prison. This is a radical left liberal that would do this. She wants to confiscate your guns, and she will never allow fracking in Pennsylvania. If she won the election, fracking in Pennsylvania will end on day one. Just to finish, one thing so important in my opinion. So I got the oil business going like nobody has ever done before. When they took over, they got rid of it, started getting rid of it, and the prices were going up the roof. They immediately let these guys
Every
go
time I fill
to
up,
where they
I
were.
feel guilt.
I would have been 5 times, 4 times, 5 times higher, because you're talking about 3.5 years ago. They got it up to where I was because they had no choice, because the prices of energy were quadrupling and doubling. You saw what happened to gasoline. So they said, let's go back to Trump. But if she won the election, the day after that election, they'll go back to destroying our country, and oil will be dead, fossil fuel will be dead. We'll go back to windmills, and we'll go back to solar, where they need a whole desert to get some energy to come out of. You ever see a solar plant? By the way, I'm a big fan of solar, but they take 400, 500 acres of desert
President
soil.
Trump, we have a
These
lot
are
of
not good
issues
things
that we
for
have
the
out of time.
understands.
Lindsay, thank you. We have an election in just 56 days. And
Really,
I want to talk about the
56?
peaceful transfer of power, which, of course, we all know is a cornerstone of our democracy, and the role of a president in a moment of crisis. Mr. President, on January 6th, you told your supporters to march to the Capitol.
January 6th again. I was trying to download Team Fortress 2 at the same time. Unlucky. It absolutely tanked the stream.
Isn't covered peacefully and patriotically. I said during my speech, not later on. Peacefully and patriotically. And nobody on the other side was
I
killed.
got some.
Ashley Babbitt was shot by an out-of-control police officer that should have never, ever shot her. It's a disgrace. But we didn't do this group of people that have been treated so badly. I ask, what about all the people that are pouring into our country and killing people that she allowed to pour in? She was the border czar. Remember that. She was the border czar. She doesn't want to be called the border czar because she's embarrassed by the border. In fact, she said at the beginning, oh, I'm surprised you're not talking about the border yet. That's because she knows what a bad job they've done. What about those people? When are they going to be prosecuted? When are these people from countries all over the world, not just South America, they're coming in from all over the world, David, all over the world, and crime rates are down all over the world because of it.
But let me just
when
ask
are those, David, when are those people going to be prosecuted? When are the people that burned down Minneapolis going to be prosecuted?
Well, that's
Or
not
in
gonna happen.
Seattle? They went into Seattle. They took over a big percentage of the city of
Oh,
Seattle.
yeah.
When are
What was
those
that?
people
The
going to be
Chaz.
prosecuted?
Just asking.
You might ask her that question.
You were the president. You were watching it unfold. And it's a very simple question. About what you on that day. Yes or no?
I had nothing to do with that other than they asked me to make a speech. I showed up for a speech. I said, I think it's going to be big. I went to Nancy Pelosi and the mayor of Washington, D.C.
True
and
scurvy.
the mayor put it back in writing.
If you want to
know.
join in, you can.
I said, you know, this is going to be a very big rally,
you wanna
or whatever you want to call it. And
do
again,
a
it wasn't
stream.
done by me. It was done by others. I said, I'd like to give you 10,000 National Guard or soldiers. They rejected me. Nancy Pelosi rejected me. It was just 2 weeks ago. Her daughter has a tape of her saying she is fully responsible for what happened. They want to get rid of that tape. It would have never happened if Nancy Pelosi and the mayor of Washington did their jobs.
I'm pretty sure
wasn't
they had to
responsible for
because it
security.
looked really bad if they
Nancy
didn't.
Pelosi was responsible. She didn't do her job.
The question was about you as president, not about former Speaker Pelosi. But I do want Vice President Harris to respond here.
I was at the Capitol on January 6th. I was the vice president-elect. I was also an acting senator. I was there. And on that day, the President of the United States incited a violent mob to attack our nation's capital, to desecrate
You think she can make
our
herself
nation's
cry?
capital. On that day, 140 law enforcement officers were injured, and some died. And understand, the former president has been indicted and impeached for exactly that reason. But this is not an isolated situation. Let's remember Charlottesville, where there was a mob of people carrying tiki torches.
Oh my
spewing
God. I'm surprised that they brought up Charleston. I mean, should I be surprised? It is a rather old talking point, but I don't know. Maybe her writers ran out of shit to say. Maybe her writers just ran out of stuff to put on a piece of paper.
Go back. Let's not go back. We're not going back. It's time to turn the page. And if that was a bridge too far for you, well, there is a place in our campaign for you to stand for country, to stand for our democracy, to stand for rule of law, and to end the
Tomorrow I'm
chaos,
playing Space Marine 2.
and to end the approach that is about attacking the foundations of our democracy because you don't like the outcome. And be clear on that point. Donald Trump, the candidate, has said in this election there will be a bloodbath if this and the outcome of this election is not to his liking.
I want to
Let's
go
turn
back
the
to
page
the
on
past
this.
to play
Let's not
games
go
that didn't
back.
suck ass.
Let's chart a course for
Nice
the
rhymes.
future and not go backwards to the past.
Let me just follow up here.
It was different to energy because they have destroyed our energy business. That was where bloodbath was. Also, on Charlottesville, that story has been, as you would say, debunked. Laura Ingraham, Sean Hannity, Jesse, all of these people, they covered it. If they go an extra sentence, they will see it was perfect. It was debunked in almost every newspaper, but they still bring it up, just like they bring 2025 up. They bring all of this stuff up. I ask you this. You talk about the Capitol. Why are we allowing these millions of people to come through on the southern border? How come she's not doing anything? And I'll tell you what I would do, and I would be very proud to do it. I would say we would both leave this debate right now. I'd like to see her go down to Washington, D.C. during this debate because we're wasting a lot of time. Go down to, because she's been so bad, it's so ridiculous. Go down to Washington, D.C. and let her sign a bill to close up the border because they have the right to do it. They don't need bills. They have the right to do it. The President of the United States, you'll get him out of bed. You'll wake him up at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. You'll say, come on down to the office. Let's sign a bill. If he signs a bill that the border is closed, all he has to do is say it to the Border Patrol, who are phenomenal. If they do that, the border is closed.
Mr.
Those
President,
people are killing many people, unlike J6.
We talked immigration here tonight. I do want to focus on this next issue to both of you because it really brings us this into focus. Truth in these
Hassan
times
is
that we're
biting
living in.
his nails
Mr.
like
President,
mad.
For 3.5 years
He
after
looks
you
very
lost the
stressed out.
2020 election, you repeatedly falsely claimed that you won, many times saying you won in a landslide. In the past couple of weeks leading up to this debate, you have said, quote, you lost by a whisker, that you, quote, didn't quite make it.
I said that?
Are you now acknowledging that you lost in 2020?
No, I don't acknowledge that at all.
But
I
you
said
did
that
say
sarcastically.
But
You know that. It was said, oh, we lost by a whisker. That was said sarcastically.
I don't like the questions that they're asking this time. They're not as like, I think it's because I can't laugh at it like I did with Joe, because she's just so annoying. I know. Candyman is still waiting for his
Walls,
fight.
we need, and we have to have it. We have to have borders, and we have to have good elections. Our elections are bad. And a lot of these illegal immigrants coming in, they're trying to get them to vote. They can't even speak English. They don't even know what country they're in practically. And these people are trying to get them to vote. And that's why they're allowing them to come into our country.
I did watch all of these pieces of video.
Why is the panel debating him? At least last time they weren't. But this time the panel is debating him. Which they said they weren't gonna do, but whatever. Did you guys notice that?
And the problem that we have right now is we have a nation in decline, and they have put it into decline. We have a nation that is dying, David.
Mr. President, thank you.
They said the
Vice
mod
President
fixer
Harris,
mod's
you
no
heard the
longer
president there tonight.
necessary.
He said he didn't
I
say
hadn't
that he
used
lost
a
by
mod
whisker. He
fixer
still,
mod the whole
believes,
time.
He did not lose the election. That was won by President Biden and yourself. But I do want to ask you about something that's come up in the last couple of days. This was a post from President Trump about this upcoming election just weeks away. He said, when I win, those people who cheated, and then he lists donors, voters, election officials, he says will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law, which will include long-term prison sentences. One of your campaign's top lawyers responded saying, we won't let Donald Trump intimidate us. We won't let him suppress the vote. Is that what you believe he's trying to do here?
Donald Trump was fired by 81 million people. So let's be clear about that. And clearly he is having a very difficult time processing that. But we cannot afford to have a president of the United States
I hate how she just looks into the
attempts,
camera.
as he did in the past, to upend the will of the voters in a free and fair election. And I'm going to tell you that I have traveled the world as Vice President of the United States, and world leaders are laughing at Donald Trump. I have talked with military leaders, some of whom worked with you,
really makes
and they
sense when
say
it
you're
goes
a
like,
disgrace.
And
when you then talk
I never
in
know
this
that
way
graphs
in a presidential
went
debate
up like
and
that.
deny what over and over again are court cases you have lost because you did in fact lose that election, it leads one to believe that perhaps we do not have in the candidate to my right the temperament or the ability to not be confused about
the ability to not be confused. Did you just say that? The ability to not be confused. The ability to not be confused. I mean, does she remember who she worked for? Like 4 years.
They said, why is the whole world blowing up? 3 years ago,
Kamala
it
is
wasn't.
doing
Why
the
is it
classic
blowing up?
leftist
He
fallacy
said,
of
because
he's
you
delusional
need
and other
Trump
affirmative
back
facts.
as
She's also
president.
just fire
They
hosing
were
a bunch of
afraid him.
leftist
China
propaganda
was
too.
afraid,
Yeah.
and I don't like to use the word afraid, but I'm just quoting him. China was afraid of him. North Korea was afraid of him. Look at what's going on with North Korea, by the way. He said Russia was afraid of him. I ended the Nord Stream 2 pipeline, and Biden put it back on day one, but he ended the XL pipeline. The XL pipeline in our country. He ended that. But he let the Russians build a pipeline going all over Europe and heading into Germany, the biggest pipeline in the world. Look, Viktor Orban said it. He said the most respected, most feared person is Donald Trump. We had no problems when Trump was president, but when this weak, pathetic man that you saw at a debate just a few months ago, that if he weren't in that debate, he'd be running instead of her. She got no votes. He got 14 million votes. What you did, you talk about a threat to democracy. He got 14 million votes, and they threw him out of office. And you know what? I'll give you a little secret. He hates her. He can't stand her. But he got 14 million votes, zero votes. And when she ran, she was the first one to leave because she failed. And now she's running. I don't understand it, but
Mr.
I'm okay with it because
your time is
I think
up.
we're going to do very well.
We've got a lot more to get to.
Turning now
Yes.
to the Israel-Hamas war and the
Uh-oh.
hostages, Americans among them. Vice President Harris, in December, you said, quote, Israel has a right to defend itself, but you added, quote, it matters how, saying international humanitarian law must be respected. Israel must do more to protect innocent civilians. You said that 9 months ago. Now an estimated 40,000 Palestinians are dead, nearly 100 hostages
How do you think
remain.
she'll
Just
how
last week, Prime
lots
Minister
of
Benjamin Netanyahu
leftists
said
hinge on
there's not
this
a deal in the
topic?
making. President Biden has not been able to break through the stalemate. How would you do it?
Well, let's understand how we got here. On October 7, Hamas, a terrorist organization, slaughtered 1,200 Israelis. Many of them young people who were simply attending a concert. Women were horribly raped. And so absolutely, I said then, I said
they just
now,
lost
Israel
millions of votes.
has a right to defend itself. We would. And how it does so matters. Because it is also true, far too many innocent Palestinians have been killed. Children, mothers. What we know is that this war must end. It must end immediately, and the way it will end is we need a ceasefire deal and we need the hostages out. And so we will continue to work around the clock on that.
Yeah, this is not going to be good.
Also understanding that we must chart
I'd
a
look at
course
Twitter
for
right
a
now,
two-state solution.
but then
And
you'd see everything in my
that
timeline.
Solution, there must be security for the Israeli people and Israel, and in equal measure for the Palestinians. But the one thing I will assure you always, I will always give Israel the ability to defend itself, in particular as
Nope.
it relates to
There goes
as it
millions
relates
of
to
votes.
Iran and any threat that Iran and its proxies pose to Israel.
Its proxies?
But we must have a two-state solution where we can
Oh shit, we
rebuild
need to look at
Gaza, where the
Hamas.
Palestinians
I meant
have
Hassan. Oh my
security,
god.
self-determination, and the dignity they
quickly.
so rightly deserve.
President Trump, how would you negotiate with Netanyahu and also Hamas in
Nothing
order to
has
get the
changed.
hostages
Fuck
out
you.
and prevent the killing of more
Kamala
innocent
Harris.
civilians in Gaza?
If I were president, it would have never started. If I were president, Russia would have
It's happening,
never,
it's happening.
ever. I know Putin very well. He would have never, and there was no threat of it either, by the way, for 4 years, have gone into Ukraine and killed millions of people when you add it up. Far worse than people understand what's going on over there. But when she mentions about Israel, all of a sudden, she hates Israel. She wouldn't even meet with Netanyahu when he went to Congress to make a very important speech. She refused to be there because she was at a sorority party of hers. She wanted to go to the sorority party.
Yeah, his chat
she hates
is
Israel. If she's
re-ing,
president, I believe that Israel will not exist within 2 years from now. And I've been pretty good at predictions, and I hope I'm wrong about that one. She hates Israel. At the same time, in her own way, she hates the Arab population because the whole place is going to get blown up. Arabs, Jewish people, Israel. Israel will be gone. It would have never happened. Iran was broke under Donald Trump. Now Iran has $300 billion because they took off all the sanctions that I had. Iran had no money for Hamas or Hezbollah or any of the 28 different spheres of terror, and they are spheres of terror, horrible terror.
Terror.
They had no money. It was a big story, and you know it. You covered it very well, actually. They had no money for terror. They were broke. Now they're a rich nation, and now what they're doing is they're spreading that money around. Look at what's happening with the Houthis and Yemen. Look at what's going on in the Middle East. this would have never happened. I will get that settled and fast, and I'll get the war with Ukraine and Russia ended. If I'm president-elect, I'll get it done before even becoming president.
Vice President Harris, he says you hate Israel.
That's absolutely not
Uh-oh,
true.
uh-oh.
I have my entire career and life
Hold on, hold on.
supported Israel and the Israeli people.
Yes.
He knows that. He's trying to, again, divide and distract.
Holocaust
from the reality,
terrorists.
Which is, it is very well known.
Stop sucking
that
Israel's
Donald
dick.
Trump is
Boo.
weak and wrong
Boo.
on national
Oh my
security and foreign
God.
policy. It is well known that he admires dictators, wants to be a dictator on day one, according to himself.
Cooked.
It is well known that he said of
Pay
Putin
up.
that he can do whatever the hell he wants and go into Ukraine.
She's digging her own
It is
grave.
well known that he said
Cooked.
when Russia went into Ukraine, it was brilliant. It is well known he exchanged love letters with Kim Jong-un. And it is absolutely well known that
I
these
hate
dictators
Harris.
and autocrats are rooting for you
Yikes.
to be president
Yeah,
again
I don't think
because
they're happy
so
with
clear.
Hassan right now.
They can manipulate you with flattery and favors. And that is why
Yeah, like how you got
so many
did some
military
favors for
leaders
your
who
buddy
you
to
have
get into
worked with
office.
have told me
Remember
you
that
are a
photo
disgrace.
she had with
That
Pete
is
Diddy?
why we understand that we have to have a president who is not consistently weak and wrong on
Vice
national
President
security,
Harris.
including the importance of upholding and respecting in highest regard our military.
Vice President Harris, thank you.
And she's the one that caused it. That's weak on
Just
national
Hassan's
security
chat
by
reminds me of
allowing
99%
every
of my
nation
peers in my
last
grad
month
school
For
program.
the year,
Oof.
168
Yeah,
different countries
I quit
sending
grad
people
school,
into our
so.
country. Their crime rates are way down. Putin endorsed her last week, said, I hope she wins. And I think he meant it, because what he's gotten away with is absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have happened with me. The leaders of other countries think that they're weak and incompetent, and they are. They're grossly incompetent. And I just ask one question. Why does Biden go in and kill the Keystone Pipeline and approve the single biggest deal that Russia's ever made, Nord Stream 2, the biggest pipeline anywhere in the world going to Germany and all over Europe? Because
Why?
they're weak and they're ineffective. And Biden, by the way,
President
gets paid
Trump,
a lot of money.
Thank you. We have a lot of issues to get to.
We'll be right back with much more of this historic ABC News presidential debate from the National Constitution Center right here in Philadelphia. Back in a moment.
Why can't I open my water?
The ABC News presidential debate will continue after this.
This is an ad. No, thank you. I don't want ad. Thank you. Let's see what Hassan's chat's telling him now. So fucking bad.
Imaginably frustrated with the immigration stuff for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
I think that is like, that's really bad to just leave on the table in general, because Trump is just like getting increasingly insane on this
Yeah.
issue. At least point it out. Like the least
You're
you
so
can
lucky
do.
He's been groiperfied.
Yeah.
Like
he's so fucking groiped up. Like the way he talks
Groiperfied.
about fucking the Haitians eating cats. Like I can't believe he just straight up said that.
Did you see the Eric Erickson thing where he was freaking out? Like,
Yeah.
congratulations on getting the shit on national TV, you fucking morons.
Yeah, it is unimaginable. But like honestly, again, it is up to Kamala Harris at that moment. Like you can't rely on David Muir's sexy ass every time
Yeah.
to fucking offer you a goddamn lifeline every single moment that the debate is occurring. You know what I mean? And he did.
Yeah.
His sexy ass was out there being hot and also doing a lot more fact checking than I thought it was going to happen.
Yeah,
But-
I've actually really liked them. I've been like pleasantly surprised. Bringing up the number of Palestinians who have been killed. Like I didn't
Yeah.
expect that. I thought it was cool.
Yeah, it was
Speaking of
shocking.
Palestine.
Jake Tapper would never. Okay, Jake Tapper would be like, like what, 10 Palestinians that maybe died and they deserved it. That's what he would say.
Yeah. They
Dana
killed
Bash-
themselves actually.
yeah, Dana Bash would be hitting both of them on not being sufficiently pro-Israel. So that is actually shocking, like the decent amount of moderation that's occurring here. But yeah, the Israel dick riding portion was fucking awful. It was disastrous. It was expected. And I think that it will, in my opinion, it will have electoral consequences. I don't know how
Yeah,
you feel
me
about
too.
that.
I
We'll talk
predict
about
that
after
too.
the fact.
Yeah,
But-
I think that like it's just a larger thing that like with her team's fucked up mindset, 'cause she's kept all the Biden people. They just feel like for some reason they can't ever meaningfully break from Biden. I feel like the ingredients were here for her to have a bad performance. Like a lot of her lines are canned. A lot of the like bait on Trump looks kind of corny and like a
Yes.
non sequitur if he doesn't respond to it.
I actually agree with them
like,
there.
Just,
Wow.
like
he
is
he
giving
ate
them
it.
so
He
much.
ate it every time. Even the Charlottesville one. Like she would do throwaways, bro. She would
Yeah.
just like
Well, is he
drop
not supposed to
random ones
respond
in
to
there,
it?
and he would be like, "Nope, I remember that and I'm going to address it." Which is shocking. Like it is worse than I thought. And I think like the failure point, like he was already shitty even against Joe Biden.
He was okay. Well, Hassan must be smoking a bit too much tonight to believe that. Are we back yet? No. We haven't had. We're gonna... Yeah, I'll probably have to go to the bathroom. Let's see. I have like this one writing thing where it's like a Night Lord, like returning to the Imperium. Like, you know, long after the schism where they broke away, where he returns like, oh my gosh, we were so wrong about the God Emperor. Like that kind of thing. In this story, the God Emperor is a good guy, okay? Not just like a corpse husk, you know? That's a heretic thing for me to say, I'm sorry. But, like, you get the... people that know the lore know what I'm talking about, okay? It's not exactly fun to live in the Imperium, but it's less fun to be attacked by chaos or necrons or orcs. Tau? I mean, I'd rather a Tau or over necrons and orcs, so you know.
This conflict. Mr. President, it has been the position of the Biden administration that we must defend Ukraine from Russia, from Vladimir Putin, to defend their sovereignty, their democracy, that it's in America's best interest to do so, arguing that if Putin wins, he may be emboldened to move even further into other countries. You have said you would solve this war in 24 hours. You said so just before the break tonight. How exactly would you do that? And I want to ask you a very simple question tonight. Do you want Ukraine to win this war?
I want the war to stop. I want to save lives that are being uselessly, people being killed by the millions. It's the millions. It's so much worse than the numbers that you're getting, which are fake numbers. Look, we're in for 250 billion or more because they don't ask Europe, which is a much bigger beneficiary to getting this thing done than we are. They're in for $150 billion less because Biden and you don't have the courage to ask Europe like I did with NATO. They paid billions and billions, hundreds of billions of dollars when I said, either you pay up or we're not going to protect you anymore. So that's maybe one of the reasons they don't like me as much as they like weak people. But you take a look at what's happening. We're in for 250 to 275 billion. They're into 100 to 150. They should be forced to equalize. With that being said, I want to get the war settled. I know Zelensky very well, and I know Putin very well. I have a good relationship, and they respect your president, okay? They respect me. They don't respect Biden. How would you respect him? Why? For what reason? He hasn't even made a phone call in 2 years to Putin, hasn't spoken to anybody. They don't even try and get it. That is a war that's dying to be settled. I will get it settled before I even become president. If I win, when I'm president-elect, and what I'll do is I'll speak to one, I'll speak to the other, I'll get them together. That war would have never happened. And in fact, when I saw Putin after I left, unfortunately left because our country has gone to hell. But after I left, when I saw him building up soldiers, he did it after I left. I said, oh, he must be negotiating. It must be a good, strong point of negotiation. Well, it wasn't, because Biden had no idea how to talk to him. He had no idea how to stop it. And now you have millions of people dead.
Oh, hold on.
And it's only getting worse, and it could lead to World War III. Don't kid yourself, David. We're playing with World War III, and we have a president that we don't even know if he's... Where is our president? We don't even know if he's a president.
And just to clarify
they
here...
threw him out of a campaign like a dog. We don't even know. Is he our president? But we have a president,
Mr. President,
that doesn't know he's alive.
Your time is up. Just to clarify in the question, do you believe it's in the U.S. best interest for Ukraine to win this war, yes or no?
I think it's the U.S. best interest to get this war finished and just get it done.
All right.
Negotiate a deal, because we have to stop all of these human lives from being destroyed.
I want to take this to Vice President Harris. I want to get your thoughts on support for Ukraine in this moment, but also as Commander-in-Chief, if elected, how would you deal with Vladimir Putin, and would it be any different from what we're seeing from President Biden?
Well, first of all, it's important to remind the former president you're not running against Joe Biden, you're running against me.
This is so much better. They're both making such great points. Wow. I feel my life has truly changed.
To Poland and Romania. And through the work that I and others did, we brought 50 countries together to support Ukraine in its righteous defense. And because of our support, because of the air defense, the ammunition, the artillery, the javelins, the Abrams tanks that we have provided, Ukraine stands as an independent and free country. If Donald Trump were president, Putin would be sitting in Kyiv right now. And understand what that would mean, because Putin's agenda is not just about Ukraine. Understand why the European allies and our NATO allies are so thankful
Chat,
you are no
does
longer
anyone here
president,
actually give a shit
and
about
that
Ukraine?
we understand
Like,
the
genuinely.
importance of the greatest military
'Cause
alliance
I
the world has
honestly
ever
don't.
known, which is NATO.
I don't care.
And what we have done to preserve the ability of Zelensky and the Ukrainians to fight for their independence. Otherwise, Putin would be sitting in Kyiv with his eyes on the rest of Europe, starting with Poland. And why don't you tell the 800,000 Polish Americans right here in Pennsylvania how quickly you would give up for the sake of favor and what you think is a friendship with what is known to be a dictator who would eat you for lunch.
Yummy.
Vice President Harris,
Sounds
thank you. We
hot.
heard from both of you on Ukraine tonight. Afghanistan came up in the last hour. I wanted her to respond to something you said earlier, and I'll give you a minute here.
Putin would be sitting in Moscow, and he wouldn't have lost 300,000 men and women, but he would have been sitting in Moscow. Quiet, please. He would have been sitting in
Quiet,
Moscow.
please.
much
Yeah.
happier than he is right
Oh,
now.
God forbid. I
But
don't want
eventually,
people to
He's
die.
got a thing that other people don't have. He's got nuclear weapons. They don't ever talk about that. He's got nuclear weapons. Nobody ever thinks about that. And eventually, maybe he'll use them, and maybe he hasn't been that threatening, but he does have that. Something we don't even like to talk about. Nobody likes to talk about it. But just so you understand, they sent her to negotiate peace before this war started. 3 days later, he went in and he started the war because everything they said was weak and stupid. They said the wrong things. That war should have never started. She
I forgot
was the
about that.
emissary. They sent her in to negotiate with Zelensky and Putin, and she did. And the war started 3 days later. And that's the kind of talent we have with her. She's worse than Biden. In my opinion, I think he's the worst president in the history of our country. She goes down as the worst vice president in the history of our country. But let me tell you something. She is
you
a
have to pick-
horrible negotiator. They sent her
Yeah.
in to negotiate. As soon as they left, Putin did the invasion.
President Trump, thank you. You did bring up something. You said she went to negotiate with Vladimir Putin. Vice President Harris, have you ever met Vladimir Putin? Can you clarify tonight?
Yet again, I said it at the beginning of this debate, you're going to hear a bunch of lies coming from this fellow. And that is another one. When I went to meet with President Zelensky, I've now met with him over 5 times. The reality is it has been about standing as America always should, as a leader upholding international rules and norms, as a leader who shows strength, understanding that the alliances we have around the world are dependent on our ability to look out for our friends and not favor
Struggling.
our enemies because you adore strong men instead of
Cooked.
caring about democracy.
GG.
And that is very much what is at stake here. The President of the United States is commander-in-chief.
Hypocrite.
And the American people have a right to rely
Omega
on a
wall.
president who understands the significance of America's role and responsibility in terms of ensuring that there is stability and ensuring we stand up for our principles and not sell them for the benefit of personal flattery.
We've talked about Ukraine and Vladimir Putin. I do want to talk about Afghanistan. It came up in the first hour of this debate. I want to move on to Afghanistan.
Said Trump did the most amazing thing I've ever seen. He got these countries, the 28 countries at the time, to pay up. He said, I've never seen. He's the head of NATO. He said, I've never seen. For years, we were paying almost all of NATO. We were being ripped off by European nations, both on trade and on NATO. I got them to pay up by saying one of the statements you made before, if you don't pay, we're not going to protect you.
President
Otherwise,
Trump.
we would have never gotten it. He said it was one of the most incredible jobs that he's ever seen done.
Thank you. I want to turn to Afghanistan. It came up.
Yeah,
in the
I
first
want to
hour of the
too.
debate,
I wanted to.
and we
I'm
witnessed
glad
a-
that they
a
brought
poignant
this up.
moment today on Capitol Hill, honoring the soldiers who died in the chaotic withdrawal from Afghanistan. I do want to ask the Vice President,
Why weren't
do
you there,
believe
bitch?
You bear any responsibility in the way that
Ooh.
withdrawal played out?
Well, I will tell you, I agreed with President Biden's decision to pull out of Afghanistan. 4 presidents
Thank you.
said they would, and Joe Biden did. And as a result, America's taxpayers are not paying the $300 million a day we were paying for that endless war. And as of today,
Yeah.
there is not one member of the United States military who is in active duty in a combat zone in any war zone around the world, the first time this century. But let's understand how we got to where we are. Donald Trump, when he was president, negotiated
well, I guess those
one of the
13 people
weakest
died for
deals
nothing,
you
I
can
guess.
imagine. He calls himself a deal maker. Even his national security
No way
advisor
did she
said
just.
it was a weak,
Yeah,
terrible
I think we
deal.
did a
And
good
here's how
job.
it
I
went
mean,
down.
only 13 people
He
died, so it's like
bypassed
whatever.
the Afghan government. He negotiated directly
No.
with a terrorist organization
Oh,
called
that's
the
gonna
Taliban.
look so
The
bad,
negotiation involved the
dude.
Taliban getting
No
5,000
way.
Taliban terrorists released, and get this, and the president at the time invited the Taliban to Camp David, a place of storied significance for us as Americans, a place where we honor the importance of American diplomacy, where we invite and receive respected world leaders.
The answer is no.
And
It's not her
this
fault. I don't think she loses any sleep
former
over that.
president, as president, invited them to Camp David because he does not again appreciate the role and responsibility of the President of the United States.
Does
to be
Restream work with
commander-in-chief
Rumble?
a level of
Yeah, I think
respect.
it does.
And this gets back to the point of how he
but
has
I
consistently
could
disparaged and
choose
demeaned
between.
members of our military,
You can
fallen
have
soldiers,
Restream
and the work
Plus.
that we must
It's
do to
basically
uphold
like
the strength
better
and the
Restream.
respect of the
You can
United
only have
States
2
of
different
America
streams when
around
you're
the
doing
world.
Vice President Harris, thank you.
Restream for
President Trump,
free.
your response to her
And that's
saying
what
you
mine
began the
is.
negotiations
It's
with
free.
the Taliban.
So, if you take a look at that period of time, the Taliban was killing our soldiers, a lot of them, with snipers. And I got involved with the Taliban because the Taliban was doing the killing. That's the fighting force within Afghanistan. They don't bother doing that because, they deal with the wrong people all the time. But I got involved. And Abdul
Let me see if
is
the
head
art
of the Taliban.
camera
He is still
is
the head of
working.
the Taliban. And I told Abdul, don't do it anymore. You do it anymore, you're going to have problems.
There we are.
And he said, why do you send me a picture of my house? I said, you're going to have to figure that out, Abdul. And for 18 months, we had nobody killed.
Like, hey,
We did have
Abdul,
an agreement negotiated by
isn't
Mike
this your house?
Pompeo. It was a very good agreement.
I
The
love that.
reason It was good. We were getting out. We would have been
Why'd you
out
send me a
faster than
picture of
ever.
my
We
house,
wouldn't have
President
lost the
Trump? It's like-
soldiers. We wouldn't have left many Americans behind, and we wouldn't have left
Why did I?
$85 billion worth of brand new, beautiful military equipment behind. And just to finish, they blew it. The agreement said you have to do this, and they didn't do it. They didn't do it. The agreement was terminated by us because they didn't do what they were supposed to do.
I want to move
and
on.
these people did the worst withdrawal, and in my opinion, the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country. And by the way, that's why Russia attacked Ukraine, because they saw how incompetent she and her boss are.
President Trump, thank you. I want to move on now to race and politics in this country. Mr. President, you recently said of Vice President Harris, quote, "I didn't know she was black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn black, and now she wants to be known as black." I want to ask a bigger picture question here tonight. Why do you believe it's appropriate to weigh in on the racial identity of your opponent?
Oh, please.
I don't care what she is. I don't care. You make a big deal out of something. I couldn't care less. Whatever she wants to be is okay with me.
But those were your words, so I'm
I
asking.
don't know. I don't know. I mean, all I can say is I read where she was not black, that she put out, and I'll say that. And then I read that she was black, and that's okay. Either one was okay with me. That's up to her. That's up to her.
Vice President Harris, your thoughts on this?
Half of Hassan's chat is now on her side,
Kind of approach
half
that
are
is
not.
just constantly trying to
I like
divide us,
checking
and especially
on
by
it
race.
because
And
he
let's
really
remember
pissed off his chat at one point.
how Donald Trump started. He was a land. He owned land. He owned buildings, and he was investigated because he refused to rent.
Oh, and
property to
they're
black
mad
families.
that she won't
Let's
say
remember,
the
this is
word
same
landlord
individual
or
who
slumlord.
took out a full-page ad in the New York Times calling for the execution of 5 young black and Latino boys who were innocent, the Central Park 5. Took out a full-page ad calling for their execution. This is the same individual who spread birther lies about the first black president of the United States. And I think the American people want better than that, want better than this, want someone who understands, as I do, I travel our country.
Where? I mean, I guess she just started traveling to do. There's a difference between traveling for no specific reason and traveling to actually get something done, which she does not do. I have a really hard time watching this one. I just, like, she's just so annoying. It's so difficult.
And the ambitions and the dreams of the American people. Knowing that regardless of people's color or the language their grandmother speaks, we all have the same dreams and aspirations and want a president who invests in those, not in hate and division.
Vice President Harris, thank you. Lindsay?
President Trump, this is now your 3rd time.
This is the most divisive presidency in the history of our country. There's never been anything like it. They're destroying our country, and they come up with things like what she just said. Going back many, many years, when a lot of people, including Mayor Bloomberg, agreed with me on the Central Park 5, they admitted, they said, they pled guilty. And I said, well, if they pled guilty, they badly hurt a person, killed a person ultimately. And if they pled guilty, then they pled, we're not guilty. But this is a person that has to stretch back years, 40, 50 years ago, because there's nothing now. I built one of the greatest economies in the history of the world.
Yeah, why did she bring up something
and
that
I'm gonna
old
build it again.
if she
It's
really
gonna
wanted
be
him to
bigger,
look
better,
bad?
and stronger. But they're destroying our
Like
economy.
most-
They
like-
have no idea what a good economy.
Most people these days that are actually going to watch this debate have no idea what the Central Park 5 is. So it doesn't really mean anything to them when they're debating over it. I think she should have gone for something more current and relevant. I was going to say she could go for something like with Palestine and whatever, but you know, she's for Israel. I don't really care. I think the whole thing's stupid. I mean, I don't care because I want us to focus on America, so. God, she is a carbon copy of Hillary.
The
It's
American
just freaky.
people. I believe in what we can do to strengthen our small businesses, which is why I have
Why
a
does she
plan.
keep
Let's
bringing
talk about
up-
our plans and let's compare the plans. I have a plan to give startup businesses $50,000 tax deduction to pursue their ambitions, their innovation, their
I mean, why aren't they doing that right now then? She like says she has all these plans of how to make things better, but then it's like, okay, why didn't you do that like right now? I don't know. Oops, my little friend is down there. There we go. Oops, sorry.
calling. Let's turn the page
Vice President
and move
Harris,
forward.
thank you. Let's turn to policy.
President
Let's
Trump,
turn back
we
to
have
policy.
to move on. President Trump.
Let's turn to policy,
She has
please.
a plan to defund the police. She has a plan to confiscate everybody's gun.
President Trump,
she
we
has
do
a
have to
plan
move
to
on to
not
other
allow
issues.
fracking in Pennsylvania or anywhere else.
Okay.
That's
Mr.
what her
President.
plan is until just recently.
I just need
Lindsay,
to
go ahead.
respond.
President
because
Trump-
no, the
President
former
Trump-
president has said
No, I'm
something
sorry.
twice that I need to
No,
respond to.
I'm sorry. We're
I just
gonna
need to
move on,
respond
Vice
one
President.
They cut her
time.
off. I love
President
it.
Trump, this is
Multiple
now your
Yes.
third time running for president. You have long vowed to repeal and replace the Affordable Care Act, also known as Obamacare. You have failed to accomplish that. You now say you're going to keep Obamacare, quote, unless we can do something much better. Last month, you said, quote, we're working on it. So tonight, 9 years after you first started running, do you have a plan, and can you tell us what it is?
Obamacare was lousy health care. Always
Yeah.
was. It's not very
Sucks.
good today. And what I said, that if we come up with something, and we are working on things, we're going to do it and we're going to replace it. But remember this, I inherited Obamacare because Democrats wouldn't change it. They wouldn't vote for it. They were unanimous. They wouldn't vote to change it. If they would have done that, we would have had a much better plan than Obamacare. But the Democrats came up. They wouldn't vote for it. I had a choice to make when I was president. Do I save it and make it as good as it can be, never going to be great, or do I let it rot? And I felt I had an obligation, even though politically it would have been good to just let it rot and let it go away. I decided, and I told my people, the top people, and they're very good people. I have a lot of good people in this
I love when he does that.
We read about the bad ones. We had some real bad ones, too, and so do they. They have really bad ones. The difference is they don't get rid of them. But let me just explain. I had a choice to make. Do I save it and make it as good as it can be, or do I let it rot? And I saved it. I did the right thing. But it's still never going to be great, and it's too expensive for people. And what we will do is we're looking at different plans. If we can come up with a plan that's going to cost our people, our population, less money and be better health care than Obamacare, then I would absolutely do it. But until then, I'd run it as good as it can be run.
So just a yes or no, you still do not have a plan?
I have concepts of a plan. I'm not president right now. But if we come up with something, I would only change it if we come up with something that's better and less expensive. And there are concepts and options we have to do that. And you'll be hearing about it in the not too distant future.
Vice President Harris, in 2017, you supported Bernie Sanders' proposal to do away with private insurance and create a government-run healthcare system.
Well, that
2
didn't
years later,
happen.
you proposed a plan that included a private insurance option. What is your plan today?
Well, first of all, I absolutely support, and over the last 4 years as vice president, private health care options. But what we need to do is maintain and grow the Affordable Care Act. But I'll get to that, Lindsay. I just need to respond to a previous point that the former president has made. I've made very clear my position on fracking. And then this business about taking everyone's guns away. Tim Walz and I are both gun owners. We're not taking anybody's guns away. So
Oh,
stop with the
no.
continual this stuff.
Oh,
As it
no,
relates to the Affordable Care
chat.
Act, understand, just look at the history to know where people stand. When Donald Trump was president, 60 times
Rest in
he
peace.
tried to get rid of the Affordable
Sheets
Care
John
Act.
McCain.
60 times.
Hooked,
I
Rip
was a senator
Bozo, caught.
at the time when I will never forget the early morning hours.
Stop
when
writing
it was
Republican
up
dick.
for a vote in the United States Senate.
Ew.
And the late, great John McCain, who you have disparaged as being a
Medicare,
you don't
John
like him,
McCain,
you say, at the time
gaslighting.
because he got caught. He was an American hero. The late, great John McCain, I will never forget that night, walked onto the Senate floor and said, "No, you don't. No, you don't.
I don't
no,
remember
you
what
don't
she's
get
talking
rid
about.
of the Affordable Care Act. You have no plan." And what the Affordable Care Act has done is eliminate the ability of insurance companies to deny people with pre-existing conditions. I don't have to tell the people watching tonight, you remember what that was like? Remember when an insurance company could deny if a child had asthma, if someone was a breast cancer survivor, if a grandparent
We're
had
cooked.
diabetes? And
We're
thankfully,
fucked.
as I've been vice president, and we over the last 4 years
So
have
there's
strengthened
still
the Affordable
people
Care
that
Act.
are
We
on
have allowed
Hassan's
for the
side,
first time Medicare to negotiate
but a lot
drug
of them
prices
are
on behalf
rather
of you,
pissed
the
off.
American people. Donald Trump said he was going to allow Medicare to negotiate drug prices. He never did. We did. And now we have capped the cost of insulin at $35 a month. Since I've been vice president, we have capped the cost of prescription medication for seniors at $2,000 a year. And when I am president, we will do that for all people, understanding that the value
Yeah.
we bring to this
I
is
mean,
that
maybe
access to health care
they have it like
should
as
be a
an
right and not just a
accessory in their
privilege of
house.
those who can afford it. And the plan has to be to strengthen the Affordable Care Act, not get rid of it,
Vice
pass this
President
prologue
Harris,
in
thank
terms
you.
of where Donald Trump stands on that.
I want to move to an issue that's important for a
She
lot
made
of
a mistake. Number one, John McCain fought Obamacare for 10 years. But it wasn't only him. It were all of the Democrats that kept it going. And you know what? We can do much better than Obamacare, much less money. But she won't improve private insurance for people, private medical insurance. That's another thing she doesn't want to give.
President
People
Trump-
are paying privately for insurance that have worked hard and made money, and they want to have private. She wants everybody to be on government insurance where you wait 6 months for an operation that you need immediately.
President Trump, thank you. We have another issue that we'd like to get to that's important for a number of Americans, in particular younger voters, and that's climate change. President Trump, with regard to the environment, you say that we have to have clean air and clean water. Vice President Harris, you call climate change an existential threat. The question to you both tonight is, what would you do to fight climate change? And Vice President Harris, we'll start with you. 1 minute for you each.
Well, the former president had said that climate change is a hoax. And what we know is that it is very real. You ask anyone who lives in a state who has experienced these extreme weather occurrences, who now is either being denied home insurance or it's being jacked up. You ask anybody who has been the victim of what that means in terms of losing their home, having nowhere to go. We know that we can actually deal with this issue. The young people of America care deeply about this issue. And I am proud that as vice president over the last 4 years, we have invested $1 trillion in a clean energy economy, while we have also increased domestic gas production to historic levels.
We have not
created over 800,000 new manufacturing jobs while I have been vice president.
Where's the
We have
gas?
invested in clean energy.
Where's
to the
my
point that
$2
we are
gas,
opening
Kamala?
up
Where's my
factories around
$2
the world. Donald
gas?
Trump said he was going to create
Where's my
manufacturing
$2
jobs.
gas,
He lost
bitch?
manufacturing jobs. And I'm also proud to have the endorsement of the United Auto Workers and Sean Fain, who also know that part of building a clean energy
No way.
economy includes investing in American-made products, American automobiles. It includes
I can't buy American
growing
clothes right
what
now
we can
because they're
do
too
around
expensive.
American manufacturing and opening
That's how
up
bad
auto
things are.
plants, not closing them like happened under Donald Trump.
Vice President Harris, thank you.
That didn't happen under Donald Trump. Let me just tell you, they lost 10,000 manufacturing jobs this last month. It's going, they're all leaving. They're building big auto plants in Mexico, in many cases owned by China. They're building these massive plants, and they think they're going to sell their cars into the United States because of these people. What they have given to China is unbelievable. But we're not going to let that. We'll put tariffs on those cars so they can't come into our country, because they will kill the United Auto Workers and any auto worker, whether it's in Detroit or South Carolina or any other place. What they've done to business and manufacturing in this country is horrible. We have nothing because
You
they
guys
they
buy
refuse.
American clothes?
You know, Biden doesn't go after people
I don't.
because supposedly China
It's
paid him
just
millions of
honestly too
dollars. He's
expensive.
afraid to do it. Between him and his son, they get all this money from Ukraine. They get all this money from all of these different
If
countries.
they bring down the
And then you
prices,
wonder,
I would
why
again,
is he
but,
so
like-
loyal to this one, that one, Ukraine, China? Why is he? Why did he get $3.5 million from the mayor of Moscow's wife? Why did she pay him $3.5 million? This is a crooked administration, and they're selling our country down the tubes.
President Trump, thank you.
Thank you.
We'll be right back with closing statements from both of our candidates. An historic
Closing.
night, this
Already.
ABC News presidential debate from Philadelphia. Back in a moment.
Oh, it almost been 3 hours.
The ABC News presidential debate will continue after this.
Let's see Hassan's chat.
The House will be in order.
Oopsie.
This year,
I forgot to turn off that one. Free Palestine, who's he talking to?
He got baited on the fucking Central Park 5. He
Yeah.
said they were guilty. Like,
Yeah.
God. Yeah, that was
Like,
something he got
God.
baited on, I guess. Like, oh,
We're cooked.
It's not over yet.
Double
Somebody said
down.
it's over, but it's not. It's still,
No. There's
still
the
statement.
final monologue that they're
Yeah.
gonna do their final closing statements, which I suspect is gonna be exactly the same shit that they've said. For better or for worse, both Kamala Harris and Donald Trump are just like kind of going and doing exactly what they've been doing.
Yeah.
Like, her Israel stuff was just like obviously dog shit. I think that there was my analysis on this, and I've been saying this for quite some time now, is that on the issue of like not the Afghan withdrawal necessarily, that was a powerful moment for Kamala Harris, like actually standing on that. Even though she
I was
flubbed the
surprised
first
by
half.
that. Yeah.
I will say, like, I think Donald Trump presented himself as a peaceful dove against Hillary Clinton in 2016, and a lot of voters responded positively to that. Obviously, Clinton had a lot of additional baggage on top of everything else, but he was not even able to do that this time around. I think that could have been 3 points that he could have hammered. He could have been more moderate on immigration. He could have been more moderate, like a little bit, like dial it back and didn't do like conspiracies and stuff. And I think that would have been more appealing to like a broader audience. But he went way too hard on immigration. I think that's going to backfire on him. He went way too hard on, like, he kept doing this. He kept doing this thing, like he even did it on abortion, where he was just like obviously lie. And
I mean, it wasn't a lie.
It
Televised forum for discussing the latest issues in Washington and across the country.
What I love about your show is that it gives the people an opportunity to speak for themselves on the issues that they actually care about.
Join us for a live 3-hour conversation with a variety of congressional members and Washington influencers.
I love this show. This is my
Turkey
favorite
Tom's
show
streaming it.
to do of all shows because I actually
So
get to
far, the
hear-
vote's kind of mirroring my prediction for how the American people would feel about it.
Skippity Trump.
I voted wrong on accident. Start the poll over. You get 1 vote, bro. That's it. Trump's yap maxing. Have to give him the L. Rare woman W. You need a third option that says USA L. I would never support that. The United States is based. Okay, I'm American. The United States is based. I don't give a fuck about you if you're not from the United States. It's still pretty close. It looks like Chikunula was edging out Skibbit Trump a little bit more at the start, but it's getting a little closer now. I'm curious what the closing statements are going to be. What are they going to say? Presidential debate situation is crazy. Yeah, I can wait for that critical video. Kamala W, Trump yapping in Big L. Rigged. Yeah, I rigged it. Trump pushes baseless claims about immigrants eating the pets. Well, he saw it on the TV, though, so based. I've seen a lot of tweets about that, but I haven't looked into the allegations. You know, I don't know if it's a false allegation or a true allegation about Haitians eating cats. I couldn't tell you. Couldn't tell you, chat. I did see a video of some guy on a beach. I thought he was like, I don't know, it's from the Middle East somewhere, but he had like a seagull in his hands, and this woman was trying to get him to not take the seagull away from the beach. And he was like, "It's bird, I eat bird." All right, we're back.
Key moments, our team will break it down as we enter the final sprint to election day. We'll go back.
Oh, it's not back.
Live from the National Constitution Center in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Oh,
here again.
there it is.
David Muir and Lindsay Davis.
Welcome back tonight. The time has come for closing statements, and Vice President Harris, we begin with you.
So I think you've heard tonight two very different visions for our country. One that is focused on the future, and the other that is focused on the past. And an
What does
attempt
that
to take
even
us
mean?
backward. But
Oh.
we're not going back. And I do believe that the American people know we all have so much more in common than what separates us. And we can chart a new way forward. And a vision of that includes having a plan, understanding the aspirations, the dreams, the hopes, the ambition of the American people, which is why
Yes.
I intend to create
That shit.
an opportunity economy.
Wow, a plan.
Investing in small businesses,
Hold on, guys.
in new families, in what we can do around protecting seniors, what we can do that is about giving hardworking
nobody wants
folks
to
a
look at her
break and
face.
bringing down the cost of living. I believe
Fentanyl for
in
president.
what we can do together. That
This
is
is
about
cringe.
sustaining America's
She's
standing
bad.
in the world and ensuring that we have the respect that we so rightly deserve, including respecting our military and ensuring we have the most lethal fighting force in the world. I will be a president
Oh,
that
really?
will protect our
She wants to
fundamental rights
bring
and freedoms, including the right of a woman to
more
make
military.
decisions about her own body and not have her government tell her what to do. I'll tell you, I started my career as a prosecutor. I was a DA, I was an attorney general, a United States senator, and now vice president. I've only had one client, the people. And I'll tell you, as a prosecutor, I never asked a victim or a witness, are you a Republican or a Democrat? The only thing I ever asked them, are you okay? And that's the kind of president we need right now. Someone who cares about you and is not putting themselves first. I intend to be a president for all Americans and focus on what we can do over the next 10 and 20 years to build back up our country by investing right now in you, the American people.
Vice President Harris, thank you.
Mod
President
fixer.
Trump.
So she just started by saying she's going to do this, she's going to do that, she's going to do all these wonderful things. Why hasn't she done it? She's been there for 3.5 years. They've had 3.5 years to fix the border. They've had 3.5 years to create jobs and all the things we talked about. Why hasn't she done it? She should leave right now, go down to that beautiful White House, go to the Capitol, get everyone together and do the things you want to do, but you haven't done it, and you won't do it because you believe in things that the American people don't believe in. You believe in things like we're not going to frack, we're not going to take fossil fuel, we're not going to do things that are going to make this country strong, whether you like it or not. Germany tried that, and within 1 year they were back to building normal energy plants. We're not ready for it. We can't sacrifice our country for the sake of bad vision. But I just ask one simple question. Why didn't she do it? We're a failing nation. We're a nation that's in serious decline. We're being laughed at all over the world. All over the world they're laughed. I know the leaders very well. They're coming to see me. They call me. We're laughed at all over the world. They don't understand what happened to us as a nation. We're not a leader. We don't have any idea what's going on. We have wars going on in the Middle East. We have wars going on with Russia and Ukraine. We're going to end up in a third world war, and it'll be a war like no other because of nuclear weapons, the power of weaponry. I rebuilt our entire military. She gave a lot of it away to the Taliban. She gave it to Afghanistan. What these people have done to our country, and maybe toughest of all, is allowing millions of people to come into our country. Many of them
I forgot
are
to turn it
criminals,
back on.
and they're destroying our country. The worst president, the worst vice president in the history of our country.
President Trump, thank you. And that is our ABC News presidential
All done.
debate from here in Philadelphia at the National Constitution Center. I'm Lindsay Davis.
And I'm David Muir. Thank you for watching here in the U.S. and all over the world, and from all of us here at ABC News. Good night.
And that concludes the ABC presidential debate. C-SPAN's coverage
Yeah.
of it continues here tonight with viewer reaction and reaction on the ground from the candidates' supporters. You can see reporters swarming there in the spin room. Let's go down into the spin room at the Philadelphia Convention Center and listen in.
She's moving in the right direction, showing up in the right parts of our state in order to make the case.
It died. All right. That was interesting. I don't know. Not sure what to say. Because it really annoyed me. Trying to see if I can open Baldur's Gate. Just trying to fix something. Anyways, good stream. It was fun. Definitely. However, Kamala just annoys me. Like, it's not even like Hillary annoying, or at least like, I guess it is Hillary annoying. You can only laugh after that one's over, but like listening to her like in real time speak, it's just such a nightmare. Okay, hold on. Hold up. I might as well fix this. Ow. There. That's a stupid one. Oh, here we are. Let's see. Dyes. Eye colors. There we go. Ooh. Face paint. Nope. Hair color. Nope. Hairstyle. Did that. Heads. Lip makeup. Oh, we already did that. Okay. Piercings. Ooh. Both. Scars. Ooh. Don't judge me, guys. Worship evil. Ooh, that sounds good. Quality of life. Alright, let's see if my game actually works. Okay. Let's see if my game works. What are we debating? Oh, it was for the political debate, but I was downloading something in the middle of it, so I just want to check. I just want to check something before we close off for today. Is it gonna work? Yay, it worked. Awesome. Why am I encumbered? What do I have on me? Well, that would explain some of it. What the hell's so heavy? Rock. Okay. Wait. Why is gold heavy? Okay. Why is that? Who decided in Larian Studios to make gold heavy? Okay. Do not disable gold heavy. Whoever decided to make gold heavy is brain dead. How is gold 100? Like, we're not going for ultra realism, Larian. I love the studio, but you're a bit wacko. Like, what the fuck? Come on. There, now I'm not encumbered. That was so stupid. Alright, everything's fixed now. There we go. Oh, it updated something. Well, chat. Thanks for dropping in tonight. It was as fun as it could be listening to Kamala Harris. Am I right? Or am I right? Anyways, I'll see you in the next one. Bye!